this is where I plan on coaching. And I don't envision myself ever coaching for any other club. I've said this before, and I can't say this enough, and just having met with Mr. Benson and his wife, Gail, man, I've been blessed coming at when I came. And listen, we all arrive at different times for different reasons, and it doesn't seem like 10 years. Shortly after that 2005 season that the team went through with Katrina, and I remember, I have a good memory. I remember like it was yesterday, the very first press conference, and I would say it was like the worst that I've ever been, sitting here with a bunch of lines. Go back and Google it. I'm just reading to everyone, and really anxiously excited and yet nervous about that task at hand. And yet I would share with you today, man, I'm just as excited and to some degree just as nervous, but looking forward to where we're going. And I don't take for granted 1 minute the leadership that sits over me and has confidence in me to be a part of a team and a part of an organization and a structure. And that's Tom and Gail. Dennis is our president. Mickey is our general manager. I mean, that relationship has been strong as ever.
Let's say hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down, y'all.
Hunker down.
Hunker down. Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Okay, and welcome again to Hunger Downcast. This is Hunger Downcast episode number 21.
21. We are able to legally drink Hallelujah.
Oh, we are?
Yeah. So if every episode was a year, we would be able to drink.
It certainly felt like it has.
Yeah. Yep. So this is a glorious time. We should do whiskey shots or something.
We have to do with Miller Lite. Oh, we should mention also this is the first time we've recorded from beautiful downtown Central City.
Yes.
So
or as I like to call it, ground zero for the Airbnb debate here in town. Jeff is patient zero. God, there's so many angles to approach this apartment as far as that whole debate goes.
Yeah. There's most of our shows so far have been either at your place,
Hogshead Jesus Studios, R.I.P. Greg Peters,
in beautiful downtown Holly Grove / Northwest Carrollton / whatever.
Pigeon Town.
Pigeon Town. Okay.
Or is it Pigeon Town? It's either Holly Grove. What'd you say? West Carrollton,
Northwest Carrollton,
but no, I thought Pigeon Town was over there where Xavier is.
It's Peacock Town now, bitch.
Peacock Town. There is a little like electrical box on the neutral ground of Carrollton that has the peacock on it.
So one of those boxes that they painted to look like a landscape? And
yeah.
They put the peacock there.
I thought that the peacock, for whatever reason lately, must not be all horny and stuff because I haven't heard him. And then I was like, well, he must have, because I keep waiting for him to die or someone to kill him or something horrible to happen to him. But I just assumed
just
that
like you
happened.
do with any person
Yeah, well, no. When I have a little bit of post-traumatic stress on this because in Grand Lagoon, which is where I grew up and where my parents live, after Hurricane Ivan, there was a duck who was in love with a goose in their lagoon. And it was a male mallard duck, and he had him a fucking goose for a girlfriend. Like this dude was a fucking playa because he was dating a goose. He had gone out of his own species.
At the time, was this even legal in Florida?
I don't know anything about the law. In Florida, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's Florida. and it's the Panhandle. So even if it was not legal, the local sheriff would just look the other way. Anyways, this duck had a swagger because he was like, hey, fuck all you other ducks, female ducks with your 7 vaginas and everything. I'm dating a goose. And he rolled around that little lagoon with a swagger. Well, somebody chopped the goose's head off one day. So, yeah, first of all, it probably devastated this duck. Even I was like, he's just I don't even know which duck was dating that goose because I never knew him except for the duck with the goose. The goose defined him as a duck.
Okay.
And then when she died, or he, I don't know when a female, it could have been, I don't know.
You don't know which way this was going.
Right. It could have been trans species.
We don't want to look, we don't want to.
And gay. I don't know.
We don't want to over-gender this.
And it was devastating. I was just like, Jesus Christ. And the neighborhood was recovering from Ivan at the time. So it was 2 blows. So yeah, I expect something to happen to this peacock because...
So ever since then, you have not gotten too attached to a bird because... It's
to any sort of exotic bird.
Oh,
no.
God.
Because I'm just waiting for the head to get chopped off. And I did see people chasing the peacock. And I know the peacock is controversial.
Okay.
So, anyways, I saw him the other day. He just must not be in his mating season or whatever. Mm-hmm. He must make a lot of noise in the spring, and now he's just chilling. Because I saw him. I have not heard him lately, but I saw him.
Well, we don't have a peacock in this neighborhood. We have an animal that Mankles refers to as duck frog, which I assume is just a frog.
That sounds exotic.
It's just a frog that sounds to her like a duck when she sits outside on the porch and listens to it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I may have heard one of those out on the bayou.
Okay.
A month or so ago.
Okay.
And it was a woman told me that she hears it while she sits on her porch. So it may have, I'll tell her.
So they got those.
Yeah.
Those
duck
those
frog.
Are out there.
Okay. And any other exotic?
Well, yeah. I mean, in addition to that, we have, as you alluded to earlier, we have the Airbnb folk. There seem to be more of them every day around here.
Oh, right. Because this is ground zero for you.
Yeah, I moved into this apartment. It's going to be like 17 years ago now.
Jesus.
Yeah. So it's been a long time.
You would have paid off a 15-year mortgage.
I sure as shit would have.
I don't know what your rent is, but I bet you that's enough to pay off a house in
Probably.
rent.
Yeah, but you know me. I'm not, not
don't
really
wanna-
into building wealth or being a person in that regard.
It just traps you. Anyways,
Yeah.
you just become owned by your wealth rather than you owning the wealth. So
Right.
it's admirable.
I prefer to be owned by my own destitution.
Destitution.
Yeah.
Is it that's a word? Okay. It's not a constitution, it's a destitution.
Yeah.
It's an ancient document in which you write about how you're going to fuck your country up.
Okay.
All the things how we're going to fuck this place up.
No, that's Twitter. That's different.
Oh,
You
I'm
had
sorry. I talked to Amanda Soprano about the Twitter
the
apocalypse
the
or
whatever.
whatever
Twitter drama. Twitter
that had happened.
Okay, so let's just stop here and go into this because Twitter these days to me is I don't even know what the fuck's going on with people. Like there's every day, or at least every week, there's some cliquish thing that people are bitching about or
Oh, really?
I have no idea what it is. Anyway, this is one of them. So
I must be on the outside. Only a few of those people I differentiate from each other.
Okay.
Unless I see their little avatar. I'm like, oh, it's the guy with the dog. Who I think is one of our listeners, TK Wharton. Did he make a graphic about us?
I think with the
that was him?
levels.
He must not know that I'm part of the Keep It Real. I am the entire Keep It Real committee where I've gotten a little better in authenticity.
You were a little low.
I scored higher than everybody though, by a wide margin. Y'all didn't even break the 20s, and I got 24. So thank you.
We'll have to go back and look at it. Maybe I'll link to this in the show notes. But TK he set our levels for us, and what were they?
AAR, yeah, audacity, authenticity, resilience.
Yeah. I don't know. Alli was upset that she was, I think, scored like a 1 on.
Well,
Audacity.
she's not as audacious. When I hear about her bowel movements, you can move up a couple points, but bowel movements get you them audacity points.
Where did we
We're going to talk about Amanda Soprano. So
Yeah.
I saw her at the Avenue Pub, which is odd because it was outside of her, because she's from Hollygrove proper.
Yeah.
Like there's no arguing about where she's from.
Yeah.
And she had said that a woman named Peanut Face on Twitter had died last year.
Well, that's sad.
Right. And everybody was sad about it and offering their condolences. And then I remember she goes, like we do, because everybody's, super sweet on there. And I was like, I'm not. I don't remember this person dying nor me offering any condolences. I would have, but no.
I mean, like you do.
I don't consider them really my family.
Like you do when any peacock or duck, loses
Right.
its head. Right.
Right. I would have if I had been paying attention,
Right.
but I wasn't.
Okay.
And the whole thing happened without my even knowing it, which happens often on the Twitter.
Right.
So
That's what I was kind of saying.
so then there was a lady from the North Shore, and you know how them ladies are up there, who created a bunch of fake accounts that were called the termite accounts. Okay, this is all according to Amanda. I'm not speaking any of this
Okay.
as proofed truth.
Okay.
So I've not checked any of this
Okay.
because it's impossible to do that anyways.
So maybe, yeah.
So she created a lot of fake accounts, and the fake accounts had the term termite in them.
All right.
And
That sounds like not anything of consequence.
right. And then it got found out by some man,
Okay.
and
so
then
what?
everybody freaked out about it, and that was that. Which it doesn't matter to me whether the person I got catfished a couple weeks ago, and I missed that girl. We had a little relationship. And when I found out she was a catfish, I was sad. And now I'm like, oh.
Wait. What? How? What?
Well, I was sitting there and I got a Facebook message that said, "Hey, sexy." And I was like, who the fuck is this?
You responded to a Facebook message that opened with "Hey, sexy."
Well, yeah,
from a stranger.
because I'm sexy.
Okay.
I was
Man.
like, this person's got it all figured out.
You're at that age.
She knows she's not one of the
responded to
the
spam.
lost people who can't just clearly see me for the sexual being that I am.
All right.
Here's one that's got it figured out.
Sure.
Right? And then I was immediately skeptical, obviously. And
not
and
for
talked to
long.
her all day going, man, you ain't real. And then finally got her. I was like, well, send me a picture. So I got her to send me a picture, and she sends me this picture of her in her bathroom in her underwear. And I look at the camera, and it's a era 2001 digital camera, right?
Aha.
And I'm like, wait a minute, she's taking this picture and then putting it on a fucking SD card and taking it out. I'm like, no, come on. So
Maybe she's got an older picture of herself.
well, she was, super cute in the picture. So,
Uh-huh.
I'm, at this point, I'm like, well, come on. So
How many credit
So
cards?
I say, hey, that looks pretty shady. Why don't you do this? Why don't you write my name on a little piece of paper, put it in the picture, and take the picture again? Right? So she sends back. I might give you this to put in the show notes, the picture I got.
Okay.
Because it is a clearly photoshopped white space in the picture, like that they took the time to ruffle the edges of to maybe look like a piece of paper with. It has no shadows or any lighting effects on it, in which it might and a clearly the closest thing to a handwritten font this catfisher could find, right, with my name on it. And I was like, oh, too bad. Sorry I wasted your time. Sorry you wasted your time, but nice try. And then I got unfriended and blocked.
But you never got to the point where anyone asked you for a credit card number or anything like that, so it wasn't like...
No, I think they did ask me to send a naked picture of myself. And then I
Oh.
think if I'd have done that, then they would have threatened me with, but then I would have just sent a fake naked picture. I would have been like,
would that have even worked?
I would have typed something in Google and I would have made it look really good or maybe really horrible. I don't know.
You should send them a picture of Anthony Weiner.
Anyways, I miss her. We had a nice little 6-hour kind of relationship. We talked about things. It was good.
So it was worth it.
It was a
really?
catfish. I didn't care that she was a catfish. It ended bad, but we had good times those 6 hours. Okay. It didn't matter that she was some, I don't know, whoever the fuck catfishes people. Getting back to the point, as a victim of catfishing, I don't care who any of them Twitter users are. They don't have to be real people. Whatever, man. We're just talking about Saints games on here.
That's right.
I mean, it's a chat room to me. Twitter's just a big chat room. It's chat rooms all over again.
It's gotten really uncomfortable in the last year or so. I think mostly because of the election and the way people are using Twitter to promote their candidates in these really like fake outrage ways. So like anything you say, any little thing you do is like harassment or aggressive, and is an example of the ridiculous state of the discourse as exemplified via people fucking around on Twitter.
Oh, right.
And I think
that is unfortunate.
I think that has added a level of
fatigue, or
it just made people kind of back off from it a little bit, and also just I feel shitty about it. I think once that's over with, it'll probably be a little bit easier to.
I guess I curate my followers enough that I don't see a lot of discourse.
I follow everybody, and so
I do that on Facebook. And I don't block anybody I choose to follow on Twitter, but I do curate it. It's generally only New Orleanians, and I don't follow anybody else. I used to follow like Nico Case and stuff like that, and she was a great follow and stuff. But one day I just was like, nope. I want to know if there's aggressive panhandlers on this corner, and by filling my feed up full of people who are within a few blocks of me or miles of me, it's going to help me figure that out, whether they're real or not. Like if I go there and there's not an aggressive panhandler, no harm, no foul.
Right. Fake ass people may have useful information.
They might still say funny shit about a Saints game.
There you go.
I may LOL.
So anyway, okay, well, that's it. Catfishing. We're in Central
I miss
City.
her.
We're doing this week because of weird circumstances. Because Allie's not actually recording with us tonight because Allie's out of town.
Right, and I wanted to definitely talk about how your team's lost and my team won.
So you really wanted to get over here and talk shit to both of us.
I just wanted to do it while I could because it's probably not going to last.
Yeah, maybe.
But you never know.
Maybe.
Everybody underestimated Florida last year, and they had a pretty good season.
Well, I mean, you guys are 1-0 now, and both of our teams are down.
Are 0-1, yeah.
So what we did this week, because Allie had to, she was in town this week for one day, and I decided to ruin that one day by going over to her house and making her record some with me. But
she wanted to talk about college football. So she loves it.
That's right, so that she could appear on the show tonight. So we're doing this kind of like bank shot. I've got a segment with Allie that I recorded where she and I talked about college football among some other things, but we're going to drop that in here, I think. Okay, so we're here over at Allie's to do the Allie portion of the show, I guess.
Part 1 of this episode.
Well, you just got back into town yesterday, right?
Yes.
And you were in Memphis?
Yep.
And now you're about to turn around tomorrow morning and just, jet right back out.
Yep.
So we wanted to come over here and get you on the show,
I have some things. I have some things to talk about.
But we definitely wanted you on because this is the football spectacular.
Oh, okay.
And we didn't want to leave you out of that
Thank
because
you.
it just seemed wrong.
It would seem gendered.
It would certainly seem gendered, but also we would be losing about 75% of our expertise. At least
At least when it comes to college football.
Okay. Do you want to start with college football?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so because we can't even do like, how do you think they're going to do this year? Because we're already like a week in, right?
Week 1 is over.
There's already spoilers.
So, spoiler alert, LSU still doesn't have a quarterback.
Right. Or possibly a coach.
Or an offense. I only watched about 5 minutes of the game, so.
Have you watched the reaction to the game?
I've seen some vitriol bandied about. It's like we're 2 weeks from the end of last season all over again.
Yeah, it's like...
Except it's doubled this time. Like, why didn't we fire him when we had the chance?
It didn't take long at all. In fact, it was like exactly after the game. People were already... I think WGNO was watching. They went outside of Lambeau Field, and they immediately found Tiger fans who were like, "Oh, we got to fire that coach." It was immediate. And after everything they went through last year with this, like, soul-searching drama where they just, what do we want to be? Like, what are we even rooting for? And they just decided that we couldn't live without Les one way or the other.
Yeah.
And just one game in, we're like, fuck that shit.
I'm stealing somebody's take here, and I can't remember who it was, but basically what I read was that Les Miles has his principles, and he has a style, and he's not going to change it up, and he's going to run, he's going to chew up clock, he's going to rely on his defense, they're going to score like just enough points to win the damn game. But that's exactly what Wisconsin did, and they did it better. Like, they out-LSU'd LSU.
I'm glad you said it that way, because everybody has been talking about how outdated LSU's offense is, and I don't even think that that's the problem. I don't think outdated is specifically the issue. I mean, Alabama doesn't run a particularly, spread out offense.
No, although when they experimented with some tempo last year, everybody was freaking out. Like, oh, Nick Saban's doing tempo now.
So they happen to know what they're doing.
Right.
And Les Miles, throughout his tenure, it's the same story after the game. They'll ask him how they did, and he'll say, well, we had trouble getting the plays in. We didn't really know whether or not the Cameron should be on the sideline or in the booth, and they're moving him back to the booth now after he was on the sideline for one game. And it's just, they seem like they fly by the seat of their pants all the time. And It's just these organizational issues that basically the head coach is actually responsible for, making happen.
Right.
That don't happen.
Yeah. And I mean, in general, I feel like if you hold your opponent to 16 points, you should be able to win the game. Like, you can't expect to score 14 points and win unless you're like Wake Forest or something. I don't know. They
couldn't move the ball. And Wisconsin has the ball, and they drive all the way down the field, and they turn it over. They drive all the way down the field, and they go it over on downs. It wasn't a situation where the defense dominated them all the time, but they came up with the plays they had to, and they didn't break.
So they got into the red zone a bunch and didn't convert?
That was, a lot of that happened.
Okay.
But that's different from the LSU defense we watched in spots last year where they were just getting burned for big plays constantly.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't happen at all. Wisconsin didn't bust anything.
Wisconsin's not really a big play team like that, though. I mean, when we play Ole Miss, that's gonna be a little bit rough, especially if we play first half Ole Miss. And so I don't know if does LSU have the kind of mental toughness to rebound from this? Because, I mean, they could get right back in the thick of it if they wanted to, if these are just like tiny things that need to get tightened up. But it doesn't sound like that's the situation they're in.
It depends on the kind of mental toughness that we're talking about,
sure.
Right? What does that even mean? I mean, it can mean a whole bunch of things. But if you want to...
Are they resilient enough to bounce back from a loss?
Precisely. But actually, I mean, that is something that you could use to point to coaching, right? I mean, being mentally tough and from a coaching standpoint maybe means that they're prepared next time. Maybe they know how to get the plays in from the sideline, or they know what they're doing. Now, with the Les Miles team...
But now they only have a week. They had all offseason to get ready for this game.
Right.
It's infuriating. I mean, if I'm a coach and I'm prepping for game one in a marquee venue against a non-conference opponent, there might be some things that I'm not sure about how they're going to go in a live game situation. But, like, your experimenting should be done after the first quarter. And then it's like, okay, well, that didn't work. We're going with the thing that we definitely know for sure works. Right. You know, this pissed me off with Notre Dame, too, because, Brian Kelly did not commit to a quarterback. And it became clear very quickly that Deshaun Kaiser is our quarterback.
But they only got 47 points, so or whatever it was. So
yeah, but we had 3 series where we put Malik Zaire in that did not result in points. I just feel like week 1, you got to limit your experimentation, and then you just lock it in. You know?
Feel like with week 1, you've spent the entire offseason putting together this team, and you should at least know, okay, this is our team this week, right?
Yeah.
But then you go into the first game and you're flipping quarterbacks around. And
I mean, and the thing is, Texas also had 2 quarterbacks, and they did it very successfully. They managed 2 quarterbacks much better than Notre Dame did. They did it in a Florida 2006 style, but even better than that, too, I think. You know, but like, why Notre Dame could not stop him when they knew every single time that Swoops was going to run it up the middle, like on the strong side. He did it every single time.
So to get back to this point about what mental toughness is, so it can either mean being actually prepared to know what you're doing and having everybody line up correctly and know what time it is and that sort of thing.
Game time.
Not being able to do that at all is kind of part of the charm of Les Miles in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, so you already know that that's not going to happen. But the other side of it is how, I guess, resilient is your team. Like, how emotionally you don't get too far down and you're always being optimistic, and Les is always really good at, keeping guys loose and feeling good about themselves. And that's what we always liked about Les Miles. Like, he's, as college coaches go, he's not especially dickish to the players.
Right. He's more in that Pete Carroll vein of let's let them party a little bit and, have fun with it.
Okay. Well, I don't like that you said Pete Carroll, but yeah. That's
Trust me, nobody dislikes it more than me. So,
but that's the mold that we're talking about, right? And, given the context of just college athletics in general, like I'm at the point where I'm basically just rooting for, these players to eventually get, their share of what, this multi-billion-dollar.
Oh, totally. I'm rooting for them to not get hurt and to go get paid.
Right.
Absolutely.
And
I hope they're getting paid now, in secret.
If we can't have that, and we're probably not going to have that this year, I don't know if you saw, there was a Deadspin piece about the National Labor Relations Board's ruling against the Northwestern players.
Oh, no, I missed that.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
Okay.
And
that sucks, though. I mean, I think about Torrey Hunter Jr., who on Saturday was attacked in the head by a Texas player in a flagrant targeting call that was not called, and he laid on the field for a few minutes and then went to the locker room and didn't come back until late, and he's obviously, I think they're going to hold him out because his head was hit so hard it was terrifying. He doesn't have the kind of health insurance that NFL players have. He doesn't have any of that. Like, I worry every time I see one of these guys get a headshot. And I don't know if you read Spencer Hall's season opener piece this year about Buffalo and about violence and about uncontrollable violence and what we are signing up for when we watch this game.
If you like, I can actually read a paragraph from that Spencer Hall piece.
Okay.
This was a great article. This is Spencer Hall and SB Nation. I think the title of it was Buffalo.
Yeah. So Spencer writes one of these season opener pieces every year, and it's invariably my favorite football article of the year because it's just nobody writes like this guy, and it's kind of encapsulates all of our thoughts about these big issues. Like his piece last year was called Broke, and it was about getting paid and these issues around the athletes getting paid, but it's just masterful what he does. You got to go read it.
Yeah, it's a really long piece, so I'm gonna read the part that really stood out to me, and it starts this way. It says, "The scariest part of thinking about the inherent violence of football, America's most popular sport, even now, is that it's just a sliver of something huge and more monstrous and inescapable. That being an accomplice is a fact of being American. That somewhere in a long history of violence, even the home I buy or the car I drive or the food I eat is a feeble payment against a long debt of crushing injustice, inequality, and ambient malice. That every story here, beyond football even, is one of trying to save or pardon the killing thing you love in spite of itself. Even if, or when it turns on you, even when it is inescapably a part of you.
Yeah, I mean,
that says it all, right? I mean, that's
I can't even add to that, man.
We all feel a little guilty about loving the sport so much, right?
Yeah.
Like we are becoming more and more aware as we get older just how fucking crazy and dangerous it is. I mean, it's a really dangerous game in ways that we hadn't. I mean, I think probably suspected for a long time, but now the evidence is just mounting everywhere that
every day
this is something that's not good for your brain.
But I think connecting it to the larger American heritage of violence and the way violence is written in everyday transactions, in how it's this deep Freudian archetype of who we are.
You're a citizen of the empire, and there's cost paid to your living even the way you are, and that's what it's like to be a football fan.
Yep.
So
it's amazing the things that we will ourselves to forget just to get through the day.
Okay, but in this case,
wow, nailed it.
But in this case, and just to
go
Irish back a bit, in the very least, I've come to watch college football as just like, well, can we just get these guys paid?
Yes,
because at least in pro football, many of them make millions and millions of dollars.
Right.
In college football, they're being used for the benefit of these athletic departments that make billions and billions of dollars, or these coaches that make millions of dollars. And,
and most athletic departments don't even break even. That's the worst part. If you play football at like a D2 school or even like a lower, I think it's only maybe the top 10 or 15 Division 1A schools that turn a profit from football.
It's like the 1% of the 1%.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know who the people are who are actually getting filthy rich off of this stuff. I would suspect it's like ESPN or something, or probably the coaches themselves are making out like bandits, the apparel companies. I mean, I would love to map out. I feel like a lot of schools feel like they have to have football because it's so tied to what going to college is.
Right.
Even if you're like a mild sports fan.
That's where your school spirit comes from. We all get together, get really drunk, and tribally shout at the other.
My college decision came down to Notre Dame or a small liberal arts college in the Northeast. I picked Notre Dame. It was not in a small part because of football. That was actually a big part of it. I didn't want to miss out on it.
So many people do that, and it's great. Is it not great?
It's awesome. To say a couple more things about Notre Dame's performance, they lost in a double overtime game against Texas, which sounds more impressive unless you remember that Texas has been really shitty for a while now, except that this year they appear to have finally gotten it together under Charlie Strong. Texas looked great. I don't know if you watched this game, but they looked great. They have a true freshman quarterback named Shane Bichelle. And he is like the blonde, blue-eyed Texas football savior. They looked really great. Malik Jefferson was flying around, tackling everybody. He looked like Jalen Smith. It was a great game. Notre Dame came back about 15 points in the fourth quarter to tie it up, including a kick two. They blocked an extra point and ran it back. And it was a true freshman who did that, too, by the way, named Sean Crawford. And so that tied it up, and then we had one last offensive drive with 2 minutes left, and on 3rd and 12, we just ran it up the middle and kind of dove, and I was about to hurl myself through a window because I was so angry about that. Yeah. But, losing in double overtime to what turns out to be a really good team in week one, that's something you can come back from, and obviously Notre Dame figured out a lot of things in week one, and I think they're going to be really strong moving forward.
So they're not going to fire Brian Kelly this week?
There are, of course, a contingent of Notre Dame fans who are calling for that.
Just because of this week or because of other stuff?
They have wanted to fire Brian Kelly since the day he set foot on campus.
But that always happens.
And it's because they were upset that Notre Dame didn't hire Randy Edsall or Jeff Tedford, so...
Okay.
These are also the same people who think that that Notre Dame could just go out there and hire Nick Saban if they wanted to just because they think that like Notre Dame is like the Federal Reserve with infinite money, and like, God damn it, we're Notre Dame. Why can't we just pay him more? And it's like the arrogance of it is just staggering.
How come they never ended up with Urban Meyer? Isn't he one of these guys? Because there are these guys. There's these Notre Dame guys who have some. It's always rumored that they have it in their contract somewhere that if the Irish ever come a calling, they can go.
I don't know if they ever pursued it seriously. I hope not. I think Urban Meyer ran a dirty fucking program at Florida. Sorry, Lance. Not sorry. I think he ran a dirty program at Florida, and if I was Notre Dame after that, even though he won a lot, I would not have wanted to hire him. I think sometimes it comes down to like, wow, you had like Bobby Rainey and Aaron Hernandez and like all these guys going through your program, and you just kind of let that happen, huh? Okay.
I'll bring that up when we see Lance later.
Okay.
You know who else had that rumor about his contract being voidable to go to Notre Dame was Jerry DiNardo when he was the LSU coach.
Oh, yeah.
And people were always worried that, oh, my God, we might lose Jerry DiNardo to Notre Dame.
No, I mean, I feel like those kind of rumors are also a relic back when Notre Dame was the only school with a major TV deal. And the landscape's changed a little bit. I don't want to be that Notre Dame fan who's like, we are the only college football program. We're the premier, the elite, number one. There's nobody else like us.
I mean, that's what they're known to be. Like, that's stereotypical Notre Dame
fan. Absolutely. I mean, I like to think that we do things a little bit differently, but it doesn't mean it's better, and it certainly doesn't mean that we're not paying players just like every other school is.
Hopefully, they are paying players. Right?
I fucking hope so. I cannot emphasize this enough. Notre Dame players, if you are not getting paid under the table by some sort of bag man, you should transfer and go to a different school.
So what else did I want to cover while we're talking about this stuff?
Did you watch Florida State Ole Miss last night?
No, I watched Twitter while it was going on.
Okay.
So, my God, Kelly is awesome. Oh, my God, this dude sucks.
Yeah,
it kind of went from...
It was a tale of two halves, for sure. I think
the
the most notable Twitter thing was the Oxford Police Department's Twitter account getting in on the fun.
No, I didn't
night.
see that.
Oh, they were like, we just got a report of a bottle thrown through a window. The officer's going to investigate and figure out the reason. And then their mentions exploded with all the Ole Miss fans saying, I'm pretty sure I can figure it out.
What I do remember is that during the first half, there were local media, I don't remember who, but they were, hey, what if LSU had, a quarterback like Kelly? It's so stupid because there's just no way that Les Miles wouldn't find a way to ruin him.
Yeah.
Nobody feels like Les Miles is going to put together an offense that makes the quarterback comfortable at all.
Is it a Les Miles thing, or is it the fact that they haven't had an offensive coordinator who knows how to develop quarterbacks?
Well, if you remember a few years ago when they brought in Cam Cameron, like it was, the line was, here's a guy who knows a pro offense and knows how to work with quarterbacks.
I'm terrified of the phrase pro offense, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Well, it's like Georgia last year hired Brian Schottenheimer. It's like that guy has NFL aides all over him. Why are you bringing him anywhere near this football team? This is not what you should be doing. I think you should be finding the best coordinators from mid-majors who are doing really exciting, innovative things. And you pluck them out, and then you give them a coordinator job. That's what Texas did. They got Sterling Gilbert from Tulsa, and he was the one working with this true freshman quarterback all summer, getting him ready for this game. And it was incredible. And they had a really great offense. It was speedy. They used tempo, which, again, I hate that saying.
Used tempo.
They were quick. And Notre Dame's defense was caught completely off guard, had no idea what to expect, and that's why they scored 50 points.
I don't know. I'm skeptical of that because I still don't know that the problem is that the offense is not up to date. Because if they all know what they're doing and they all can do it together and on time, and if they're good, which, LSU isn't, that's not a problem,
right,
having a talented group of guys.
Yeah.
I don't think that. I mean, you can run pretty much anything.
I mean, I'm not a scheme expert by any means, but I think there is a certain amount of keeping other people off their toes, trying new stuff. I mean, when Steve Spurrier did the fun and gun, that was like a revolutionary thing at the time. Yeah, I mean, this is like the stuff goes in waves, right? And some of it is execution, but some of it is programming your packages to your personnel. So that's the major problem with Notre Dame's defense right now. Is Brian Van Gorder has been there for 3 years. His defense is pro style. It's notoriously complex, and he's got a bunch of new guys who don't know it, and they can't keep up, and they can't implement it to the complexity where it'll work. Well, that's a coaching issue. You got to implement a simpler scheme.
Well, yeah, I mean, so this is what I'm getting at. Like, I think that really coaching to me is you keep your players confident, keep the pressure off of them, get them to work together.
Sure.
I mean, football is like that. You have one guy fuck up his assignment and then all 11 of them look bad. Mm-hmm. I mean, get them consistently to do their job and not jump off sides and know the play, to not feel like, they're afraid to fail every time they go out there, and, feel a little bit loose and a little bit sure of themselves. And then you can have them run whatever the hell you want. Like, you run damn wishbone. It doesn't matter. I'm exaggerating. I think it does matter, but I also think that is more important than whether or not they're running a spread offense or whether they're running an I formation, depending on what your talent is.
Sure.
I don't think that the specific problem with Les is that, the game has passed him by or whatever cliche is.
I don't think that.
But there are people who say that, and there are people like all over today. There's this great article on NOLA.com that I guess I'll put in the show notes, but it's quotes from Marcus Spears and Harvey Williams. And Harvey Williams is on the Feinbaum show, and he just ripped into Les Miles, and it was.
I saw a quote that somebody posted where Williams said, like, that guy needs to be gone yesterday or something like that.
Yeah, he wants him gone. He said something about him being something about Frankenstein. Oh, if Billy Cannon were dead, which he's not. If Billy Cannon were dead, he would be rolling over in his grave. That was. So not quite yet zombie Billy Cannon.
Wait, we're sure Yogi Berra didn't say that?
I don't know.
Like, Jesus. Oh, God.
But that's how, that's how angry people are.
They want Billy Cannon to die so he can roll over.
Exactly. And then the other thing is,
God! All right.
The only thing that I'm really worried about with LSU now is that one thing that we were just talking about is, can they have confidence? Can they be resilient emotionally? Because that's all Les can do for them.
Hard to after a total failure of a game like that.
After that game, Les looked just distraught. I've never seen him as completely down as he was at that press conference. It was so sad. He's just so defeated. So I really hope that, poor Les can at least bounce back. Because if that doesn't happen, then there's just no hope.
Maybe he just needs to look at that gif of him drinking the grass smoothie from that ESPN commercial last year. Just like over and over, just drinking that smoothie of the grass at Tiger Stadium.
There's like a Popeye cartoon. That's probably what's going to happen.
Yes, there we go.
All right.
I think he'll be
I feel better now. I know you didn't see anything that the Saints did this preseason, so
nope.
I will probably save the Saints stuff for Lance.
I did hear that Drew Brees wants a 4-year, $100 million deal.
Yeah, Drew wants all the money. I'm not entirely certain they shouldn't give him all the money because
he is like the only talented one left on the whole damn roster.
It's close. That's not exactly true, but it's close to that.
And he didn't go to Stanford, so that's a start.
So that's the thing I actually wanted to ask you about. So we've got this Stanford conundrum. One of the big problem spots and one of the sort of question marks, both of them are Stanford guys. There's Kobe Fleener, who's the question mark, right? Every year we've had a pretty good tight end, since 2009. It was Shockey, and then they had Jimmy Graham in his glory years.
Yep.
And then then last year Ben Watson's miracle comeback year. So now they had to go out and get a tight end, and so they went and got Kobe Fleener, who he's got all the tools. He's 8 foot tall and he's got good speed for being a big lunky giant. But
he's bad.
I don't know. He's gonna disappoint you, is what a lot of the scouts and stuff say about him.
Yeah, I don't. Stanford Stanford's identity under David Shaw has been they're going to be bigger than you, they're going to be stronger than you, they're going to play man ball, and they're going to use a lot of big tight ends. Like, that's kind of been their identity. They're not trying to be Oregon. Like, they're not trying to be, quick and speedy and lightning fast and use like big bombs or anything. Stanford wants to beat you in the trenches. But none of those guys have like shown up in the NFL at all. Even though Stanford talks in big game about this being their identity, I don't think they've been that outstanding. So,
I think these Pac-12, is it
Yes.
Pac-12 now? How many
Yeah,
of them are?
it's 12.
They're all kind of graded on a bit of a curve. There are big TV markets out there, but really, year in, year out, what is it right now other than SC and I guess Oregon? It's not a very deep conference, right?
Oh, haven't you heard that Washington's going to win the national championship
this
year?
I had no idea.
Oh, man, Washington hype train is so strong this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
Why? But the other part of the Stanford problem for the Saints, obviously, is our friend Andres Pete, who...
Yeah.
Let me read you this. This is going to take just 1 second. This is from Black and Gold Review, and it is from just after the Saints had drafted Pete. And this is Bradley Warshauer. He found this ESPN quote and went directly to it, and I'll just read. This is Bradley. It says, as his career has progressed, Sean Payton's press conferences have become more interesting, more openly combative, and more prone to digressive storytelling than they used to be.
Digressive storytelling.
Digressive storytelling. The results reveal more than the simple cooperative answers journalists generally desire. After last night, this is last year obviously, after the first round of the draft ended, Payton said little about how the Saints' first pick Stanford offensive tackle Andres Pete fits the team's roster, and less about any specific plans the Saints have for him. Instead, Payton talked about how, in 1981, Todd Pete Sr. had a superior Letterman jacket. And now this is the quote from Payton. His father and I are the same age. His father went to Champaign Central High School, which is in the middle of the state of Illinois. And the first time I met his dad, we were seniors being recruited by Northern Illinois. And his dad played guard in the league for a long time. And I just remember seeing his dad on that college visit. And I can remember, it was 1981, I can remember it like it was yesterday. His dad had one of those Letterman jackets on with the 5 varsity letters all over it. And I had only played my senior year, and I hadn't gotten my letter yet, so I had stuff my mom gave me to make up, really, my Letterman's coat. But his dad went on to have a great career at Northern, and he was drafted and played a long time. This guy has all the things you look for, I guess, switching back to Pete. He's smart, he's big, he's very athletic. He's built very differently from his father in his stature. And then here's back to Bradley commenting on this. When talking about Pete, Payton's sense of nostalgia was so overpowering that the room may as well have gone sepia. That feeling bled over into Payton's direct evaluation of Pete as a player, starting with the above comparison of Andres' body type to Todd's, and continuing with Payton's repeated references to his friend David, who also known as Stanford football coach David Shaw, to Shaw, who Payton said more than once he has been close to since both men served on the Philadelphia Eagles coaching staff almost 20 years ago.
This makes me so angry. I can't even process this right now.
So not only do we have, Kobe, who might be a problem, Pete, who is a huge problem.
Yeah.
They've, first of all, they've drafted him because of, this. Then they didn't have any room for him last year. Then he wants to be a tackle, but there's no room for him at tackle, so they put him in a guard. Halfway through training camp, they had to put him back at tackle and guard at the same time at the beginning of camp. Then they've switched him to the left side, and then they switch him back to the right side. He's already a questionable player who they drafted because Sean Payton liked his dad's jacket, and now they're ruining him. So, again, it all goes back to the Stanford problem. Oh, and then the third thing is, obviously, Sean is very close with David Shaw. So,
I hate David Shaw, first of all. He makes me angry in many ways. David Shaw David Shaw's a complainer. Like, after the games are over, he just really likes to just be really whiny about stuff. And
Is that right?
Makes me really angry. Longtime listeners of the Hunker Downcast may recall that all that I wanted was for the Saints to draft one player from Notre Dame. I just want one Notre Dame player on this entire team. And this year, I thought there was, one player in particular that we could have really used. There were two, depending on whether you wanted to get an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman. If you wanted an offensive lineman, you get Ronnie Stanley. If you wanted a defensive lineman, you get Sheldon Day. I think either one of them would have been amazing. Ronnie Stanley was drafted 6th by the Baltimore Ravens. Sheldon Day was drafted in the 4th round by the Jaguars. Did the Saints pick anyone before the 4th round this year, Jeff?
Well, obviously, yes.
Okay, well then we could have gotten Sheldon Day.
Well, we did get Sheldon Rankins, who also plays defensive tackle and is named Sheldon. So it's very close. Although he's going to miss half the season because he broke his leg. So that's,
I know.
6 in one, half a dozen the other, I guess. But
we could have avoided this shitty Stanford situation had we just listened to me.
I mean, the Saints' real problem is on their offensive line.
Yeah. So they could have traded up and gotten Ronnie Stanley. He's going to be really good. They could have drafted Will Fuller at receiver, who everyone was like, oh, but his hands are small.
Yeah, didn't
he's going to be amazing.
I think Will Fuller burned us in a preseason game. I think he did. I think he beat PJ Williams down the sideline.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So already.
Yep. Will Fuller burned everyone in college, and now he's going to do it to us in the NFL. Can't wait, because nobody listens to me.
So anyway, I guess I wanted to get your comments on the Stanford thing.
I mean, everyone knows my hate for Stanford, but in this case, it's legit and backed up by evidence, and we're going to have a really fun season watching it all fall apart.
And look at how deep it goes. I mean, just with that, it's ruined our draft pick.
Oh my God, that it came back to Sean thought that his friend had a bigger dick because he had more letters on his jacket.
Like that,
I cannot even. That's so upsetting.
That's kind of where we are with Sean Payton these days. This is burnt out Sean Payton. This is what I was worried about last year. It was one of two things were possible. One was Sean was completely burnt out and did not know what he was doing and didn't give a shit anymore. Or they had this master plan to, by 2016, have rebuilt the roster and be ready to go. I think it was more from column A than it is from column B. And I think that's what we're going to be dealing with this year. But
I mean, this year we have no Colston, we have no Pierre Thomas, we have no... all of the players that I loved are gone.
All your friends are gone.
All my friends have moved away.
Yeah, well.
And now we're left with Stanford injured, terrible dudes. It's just not cool. That's really all I have about that.
So, yeah, this whole... What about football season in 2016 can we talk about that isn't depressing? Because we've gone through LSU, a big Notre Dame heartbreaking loss, and this Saints thing that's not looking so good. And I don't really know. It all feels pretty bad right now.
So Alabama beat the pants off Southern Cal this weekend.
Is that good or bad?
I hate Alabama, but I hate Southern Cal way more. So that was... I don't like to feel good about Alabama winning, but I feel very good anytime Southern Cal gets embarrassed like that.
Okay.
Georgia played well on Saturday, and Nick Chubb had an amazing game. And then today, somebody posted a video of an Atlanta preacher preaching about how awesome it was to watch Nick Chubb run on Saturday. So that was the most Georgia thing of all time.
I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah, it was Spencer Hall tweeted it, so you can find it there. That was pretty great. I think it's hard for me not to enjoy college football with all of its dramas and its stories, and I love it. It's my favorite. Even though it's fucked up and weird and terrible, it's also the best.
So do you have I would have asked you, if we'd done this last week, I would have asked you, where you think LSU is going to finish and where do you think Notre Dame's going to finish. But we've had spoilers. So LSU is going down the tube. Notre Dame is going to do what, you think?
I think Notre Dame could still win 10 games.
Okay.
I think
that's pretty respectable.
yeah, they have a lot of talent and they're very good and their schedule is favorable. So I mean, I think Notre Dame could definitely win 10 games. How do you think? Do you think LSU is gonna?
Oh God!
I mean, I think before this weekend, people were thinking they could finish second in the SEC West. I don't think that. I don't know. I don't know now.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're going to spend the rest of the year going through this. Everybody yelling about Les Miles. So I mean, we may have to decide whether or not we're going to save his job again at the end of the season. So
well. At the end of the season, we may not want to because Tom Herman might be ready to make a jump. And if we could get LSU coach Tom Herman, that might be really fun.
Who's Tom Herman?
He's the head coach at Houston who beat the pants off Oklahoma this weekend.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that happening.
And they also won at least 10 games last year.
Okay. Well, yeah. I just, I like Les for the entertainment value. I'm not ready to give him up. Maybe if they, if they drop some stupid SEC games this year, I might change my mind. But
I think if they lose to a bad team like Auburn is probably Auburn's offense is bad. They have a good defense, but their offense is bad. Texas A&M seems to be getting their shit together slowly. They have a really good defense. I mean, that's the problem is that like even the bad teams in the SEC West still have really good defenses. So it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Because our problem is we have no offense at all.
No, they're all going to line up 8 people in the box to stop Fournette, and then we have nothing else we can do. So it's just, it's going to be one.
They're going to dare us to beat them through the air, and we won't be able to do it. Even though we have 2 really, really great wide receivers.
And no quarterback.
No quarterback.
All right, well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Should we take a break?
Yeah, I guess we'll take a second, and then we'll come back and we'll finish up the.
Okay.
We'll finish up with you.
Well, her team put on a thriller, so she went down with pride. Like it was like 90 points or something they scored, prime time. I mean, mad props to the Fighting Irish, but you guys, ew. That just makes me feel awkward.
Well, let me think if I can remember what she said about it. She said that, it's kind of, we're going into Groundhog Day season with Les Miles again.
Where he's going to get fired, where everyone thinks he's going to get fired?
Yeah, I mean, we thought we had gone through this great cathartic moment last year where everyone decided that we know that Les Miles is a shitty coach, but he's so fun, and he's so good to those kids, and, I
didn't know that it was acknowledged that he was a shitty coach during all that. He's one of the better coaches out there.
Well, I don't know. I don't necessarily think that's true.
He won a national title.
So this is one of the things that Alli and I tried to talk about was, what actually is a good coach? What makes a good coach? Does it have to do with, are you innovative? Is your offense up to date or outdated, or has the game passed you by? And
like Sean Payton,
or like Sean Payton, or like well, in this case, like Les Miles. That's the complaint against him is that his offense is so old fashioned. He just wants to run the ball and line up in the I formation and pound you to sleep. And they don't know how to throw the ball and make people afraid of them.
What other coaches has the game passed by? Like every coach who doesn't work anymore?
Well,
Jim Haslett, did the game pass him by?
Right. Or
Marty Schottenheimer?
It's a common trope. It's a thing that they start to say about a coach toward the end of his career.
When they're trying to build a story about how they suck.
Yeah.
I guess they got hooked on Vicodin. Is just not a hook to hang it on.
Well, so Sean Payton is a different case, right? He's not necessarily a guy who the game has passed by. We're in a sense where he doesn't know how to call plays anymore. He doesn't know how to design an offense. It's more, does he even give a shit anymore? And I think this is where I kind of was getting to with what coachings actually do. And what they actually do is they make sure the team is organized, right? Like all the guys are kind of on the same page. We know how we're going to get the play in. We know how many timeouts we have.
Sometimes they know how many timeouts they have.
But these are the things that are actually the coach's
When Les
job.
is not so good at that.
Right. Les doesn't have a clue about fundamental shit like
He's
that.
a motivator, though.
But he's a fun guy, and he's a motivator, and he, in the context of college football, where we're talking about these amateurs who are exploited and aren't paid by these universities that are making billions of dollars off of them, at least he's not a dick to them.
Like Saban.
Like Nick Saban.
Probably
or
is.
somebody.
Or I've seen him
exactly
be a dick. Yeah.
Exactly. So
he is what you want out of a college coach in that if you are a person who has a bit of a heart or soul, in that you want to build kids up and send them off to the NFL or on to the rest of their lives with a strong sense of character.
Right, because that's what.
Whereas other guys, people who want him fired, are like, "Fuck that, I gotta win, win."
Exactly.
Which is not what a college coach should be like, but a pro coach certainly should be.
Well, a pro coach should be at least judged on how well he wins and loses, and they always are, right?
So you're saying that it might be the standards for a college coach should be different than for a pro coach.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, me too. But it's hard to convince people about things like building character and stuff like that, when they're watching LSU games and it's all they have in their life, and they realize that they're in a shitty career, in a shitty marriage, drive a shitty car. They're not. Why would they care about whether kids go off and do nice things? That's all they have is LSU.
My advice to them would be to find some of the humor in it, because Les Miles, even when he's losing, is still an entertaining, emotive avatar of human sadness.
He is an emotive everything. I want him. Have I ever told you about how I want him to write like motivational books and do them on tape and stuff like that?
But that would
I would
be
like for
fucking
him to
great.
become a Tony Robbins type figure afterwards. And I just want to like drive around in my truck and listen to him tell me about how I'm going to accomplish things today.
Yeah.
And I would just love, because he kind of, the way he says it is just like, and I've never been more proud of these boys today. They went out on that field and they gave it their all. They practiced. And I would just like to be driving around in my truck and be like, Lance, you're going to be all right today. You're going to take this day by the horns, and you're going to, just have Les Miles.
Yeah.
Talking to me all day, motivating.
As pumped up as he gets in those moments, he gets that far down in the other moments. And that's great. That's what you want. Like, you don't want like this stone-faced asshole. Like, you want a guy who is gonna, like, even his body language. He just was sitting at that podium playing with his little Sharpie. It was hilarious. And he said, like, the next day at the press conference, he said some of the most ridiculous things. He said, they were talking about that last play where Harris threw the interception.
Well, that is already in this short season my favorite play of the year so far.
So Les describes it as, first of all, I thought he dodged exceedingly well. Like he did a great job of dodging.
So he's keeping it positive.
Right. And then he had to dodge because, according to Les, quote, we had some guys who were not necessarily blocked.
So he didn't want to blame. So here's how he's a good guy. He didn't want to throw his fucking O-line under the bus.
That's exactly
or any
right.
of the tight end or the running back or anybody. So he was like
exactly
going,
right.
hey, they didn't block him, but hey, how can I know they're watching this? I know they hang on my every word. I know I'm, somebody that they listen to. So how can I soften this for them?
Right.
So he said that.
But with them, this season is going to be, it's just going to be that over and over. Like, they didn't fix the offense. They're not going to magically, they're going to beat some people because they just will, by accident, beat some people because they're that talented. But it's still going to be the same story. So it's going to
I thought the decleating at the end of that play was one of the greatest things ever.
No, you enjoyed that one.
I thought, because Jeremy, I watched it with him at Harry's, and he was freaking out over the pick and stuff, and I didn't have a dog in the fight, but Jeremy was pretty sad about it, and he was like so anguished that he missed the decleating, and I was like, and I didn't know about the rule in college where if if you just are on the ground with the ball, you're down. Okay, I did not know that rule. And obviously neither did this Booty kid.
So you think that
It was an
believed
accident.
the play was live?
I believe the play was live.
So
and-
when I watched it live, I was like you. I was actually arguing with people. Like, no, the kid thought the play was live. It's
things
not that
happen
big of a play.
downfield, and even Les talked about it, right?
Right.
When you're engaged and so. So he made a mistake. He clearly felt bad about it. He got suspended a game. That's fair. A kid did get depleted.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's all right.
It's fine. It's not.
It's fine, but man, did it look like I was like, whoa, it's fucking football season, man. God damn, they done lost to an unranked team. People are, and I was hollering like at anybody in an LSU jersey I saw in the quarter that day. I was like, Fireless Miles.
And they came out doing that. They came right out of the stadium saying that shit.
Yeah, it's funny as fuck. I don't want him to
here
get
we
fired.
go.
I love him, but it's still funny to do to people, like when you see him and stuff. Fireless Mile.
Anyway, so
And then Allie's team lost
yeah, Allie's team
in
lost
a
to
far
Texas.
better, more exciting and valiant manner. And the Florida Gators, they won, and Steve Spurrier was there.
Speaking of which, one of the things that she said in passing while we were talking was that she is not a fan of Urban Meyer.
Neither are Florida fans.
Oh, okay. That's what I wanted.
He's
to
not
hear.
Steve. We love Steve. Fuck Urban.
But he won there. But you're okay with her like accusing him of being a dirty coach who.
Yeah, because fuck Urban Meyer.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not thought. My mama don't like him, so.
Okay. Well, that's what matters.
I mean, I don't. She could probably tell you more about why he's an asshole. He had health problems, like quote air quote health problems when he was there, and he managed to quit his job, and then came right back.
So I guess you hinted earlier that you're not exactly high on how this is going to go for the rest of the year for Florida.
Well, Jeremy had told me that he had looked up like news articles about them. Forgot what the first one was, but the second one was that a guy that they thought was going to be suspended for the year is not. And the third one was that their kicker was pretty badass. And those were all those were the speculative articles about how good Florida was going to be. And apparently they didn't look too good either. And their coach, he was not too high on them, even though they won. So, I don't know. But it's a good position to be in. It's a better position to be in than Les Miles is in, where everyone just expects you to be the most badass thing on the planet.
Every week.
Yeah. You can talk about that while I get us some beers.
Yeah, do that. I think Allie and I actually talked about this already, and I don't want to rehash it too much because what I'm most worried about is everyone getting too fucking depressed already before we even really start playing a whole lot of games. Like we've gone through 1 week of college football, and already half of South Louisiana is trying to jump off the nearest bridge. And I think a lot of that has to do with there were people who there was so much riding on this LSU team, like emotionally, like people were expecting the football team to, lift their spirits after the flood. The same way that we reverse engineered the idea that the Saints saved New Orleans after Katrina.
Oh, yeah. I did read some articles about that, and I thought they were total bullshit. How dare you beat us? We got flooded. Mm-hmm. A guy on Twitter was making fun of ESPN, was bagging on ESPN because they said it's all over but the crying in Baton Rouge. And he was like, hey, man, we just underwent a disaster. It's like insensitive. And I was like, fuck off. It has nothing to do with it.
I mean, it's disrespectful to not only to the people who were flooded, but to the kids who play for the team. To put that on their back, and
totally,
it's ridiculous.
It's not like people are at the game with like Katrina signs like the Bears were doing. Like it's not like they're being antagonized.
No, it wasn't even a thing.
Yeah, that was. Come on, y'all.
So,
jeez,
that's just added like angst to this season. So if LSU ends up disappointing, you're going to hear that too. Oh, they let us down. They let us down after the flood.
I've never seen sports fans like Louisiana sports fans. I wish there was some sort of book about it. Tim and M write a book about it.
It's special, I mean, I guess it's inevitable that we marry our identity to our sports fanship, and part of our identity is our constantly being inundated with disaster.
But every now and then we win. It's not like it's all.
No.
Oh, you mean disaster like floods and stuff?
Yeah. And hardship.
Oil spills.
Yeah. So
where was that oil spill
drama.
Super Bowl? I wonder. That one just kind of slipped by, didn't it?
Goodell.
Nobody did it for the oil spill. Fuck. Well, let's talk about the Saints then. Let's just do a football episode.
Okay.
Fuck it. That's where it's going.
Yeah, I mean that was my.
And then we'll do some stepping on, stepping out.
Sure.
Later.
All right. Well, the Saints are kicking off against the Raiders this week, and I've got a whole bunch of shit to say about them, and I'm trying to figure out where to start with it.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's up with that Fleener dude? I've not heard a goddamn thing about him.
Well, I'm glad you asked about him. Alli actually ripped into him a little bit.
Because he is weak?
No, because he is part of what we've called the Stanford conundrum.
Oh.
Alli being...
she hates them.
Alli has an extreme bias against Stanford. And
didn't the swimmer who got off on some rape charges, wasn't he Stanford?
I'll ask her about it. But
I think he was.
If Alli were here, she would say, well, I wouldn't be surprised.
I think he was. Holla at us about that, Tim and M.
Okay. So Fleener is, I think he's going to be a disappointment. I just have.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
And did our other island boy get hurt also?
Our other island boy?
We had one that tore his knee up several months ago, and then Huma wow.
Okay, so
he got hurt too.
Right. So
both the island boys are out.
Kikaha is out, and
they're both out for the season. Right, and I want to know about all these guys. I want to know about Laurinaitis. How did he do? What kind of preseason did he have? Did Jarris Bird show up? Have any of these guys emerged?
Okay, so the question, I guess, is the defense is going to be any better this year?
Because it seems like they got talent, but why doesn't it ever show up?
So there are a couple of things. Well, you can't really tell a whole lot from watching preseason games. I mean, you can't really say, well, did they show up for the preseason? We don't really know that, but we can tell you what we can guess about them. So the conventional wisdom right now is that they're definitely better on defense. That's the general thing that people say.
Okay, great.
And the reason that people believe this is because of some of the guys that you mentioned. I mean, Laurinaitis is one of them. So they look on paper. They look better at the linebacking core. They look better in the secondary, but I think they're really going to be surprisingly thin in the secondary. They lost Damian Swan to an undisclosed injury, and he's on IR.
Oh,
but last year he had 3 concussions, and that was just as a rookie. And like I was saying at the time, well, that dude,
his career's over.
He just ought to retire now because fuck it.
Jeez, that's too bad.
But he came back when he was in there. When he's capable, he looks pretty good. But he's on IR now. They dropped Keenan Lewis at the last minute. He's gone. They've got Delvin Breaux, who is potentially an all-star, right? And
are you saying that?
Well, because he's that good.
Oh, okay,
he's that good, but you never know how it's going to go. And then opposite him, starting is going to be P.J. Williams.
Who I've never heard of.
Well, he was a high draft choice last year who ended up not playing much. They kind of redshirted him.
Okay.
In the preseason games, what I could tell you about him is that he looks like he can run with people, but he never looks back for the ball. And he got burned a couple times during the preseason in that situation. I think Will Fuller, burned him really bad one time, and against Pittsburgh he got beat really bad. But people who watch them practice every day say that he's probably going to be okay, but he's basically a rookie, and he's the starting corner opposite Breaux.
Okay, so he's got something to play for, though.
And then behind them, there are 2 other undrafted free agent rookies. They're Devontae Harris and Ken Crawley, who, again, all the talk from camp is...
Sounds like the fucking Major League Cleveland Indians, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, except that, like, all the talk is positive about these guys. but nobody really knows how they're going to be. And again, they're rookies; they're very young players. So you can say, "Hey, we have
anything could happen."
Young talent in the secondary, and hypothetically, it's a deep secondary, but it's really not because you lose Bro, then you got a lot of inexperienced people out there. They had brought in Cortland Finnegan as a veteran to keep it stabilized when they dropped Keenan Lewis.
Did he get picked up?
Not yet.
Okay.
But then they cut Cortland Finnegan this week, and they brought in another veteran who is younger than Finnegan, but not as well established, named Sterling Moore. So he hasn't practiced at all.
That's
with the
a
team.
good name, though.
You like that,
Sterling?
But anyway, so that's a long.
Well, that all sounds like a fucking disaster to
That's
me.
a long way of saying that the secondary, people are high on it, but there's not a lot of solid evidence that you should be that confident in them. Beyond that, there's the defensive line, which is already lost Sheldon Rankins for 8 games because he broke his leg.
Right, and that was our draft pick.
Right. We know that Cameron Jordan can play.
Right.
We don't really know how good or bad the rest of them are.
Who are the rest of them?
So Tyler Davison's going to start at nose tackle.
I have no idea.
He's
I don't know any of these
second-year
dudes.
player who the coaches talk up, but then we haven't seen it really ourselves, so we don't know.
Okay.
The other tackle until Rankins gets back is going to be Nick Fairley, who can play.
Name I recognize.
He's kind of an asshole, but he can play. And the good news about him is that he is, playing on a 1-year contract. So he wants to kind of parlay that, and he's one of those players who does that. So it's the indications are he could have one of those career years.
He's like a Magnificent Seven type
Yeah.
guy who just shows up and is like,
Yeah.
I'll do the job.
Right.
Seven Samurai type thing. Okay.
So then the other problem is who's going to be the pass rusher opposite those guys, opposite Cam Jordan, right? And they spent all offseason trying to figure that out. After Kikaha got hurt, they were set back.
Oh, that's the other guy. Yeah.
Right.
That's the other Island boy. They're both hurt.
He's hurt.
Okay.
So the last thing they did in the last week of camp, and we haven't seen him on the field yet, is they brought in Paul Kruger, who is a veteran defensive end, who you may have seen before. I don't know. He played for Baltimore and
No, I don't
Cleveland.
know him.
This guy is a bleach blonde hair, kind of like a right wing guy. He's like solid Trump guy.
Oh,
and he's just like you. I'll have to put up one of these pictures I found of him and his wife.
What's his name?
Paul Kruger.
Jesus, yeah, that sounds like
so.
him.
But like all the people who have like Shockey jerseys from back in the day, they're all going to run out and get these 99 Kruger jerseys. Like he's going to be their guy this year.
Okay.
So just watch out for that.
Jeremy has a Shockey jersey, but he said it's because it's the last jersey he will ever buy because of the Goodell shit.
Okay.
So
interesting.
don't always judge somebody by their Shockey jersey.
I know. Well,
you know that.
All right.
You're a prejudiced fucker.
I am. But anyway, I'm just trying to give you a picture for
Okay.
those of you who haven't met Paul Kruger yet. You will soon, and that's who you're dealing with.
I can't wait. And then the O-line is so fucked up. We had to go back and get a dude who we tried to convince everybody wasn't shit like a year or so ago.
Right.
It's like you broke up with your girlfriend because you had this hot new thing. The hot new thing didn't pan out, and now we're trying to go back and make up with the girl that we broke up with.
Right.
Mainly,
You mean Jari?
Jari Evans.
This is the story about Jari. Because they cut him, he still counts against the cap, like some $5 million this year, as just dead cap money.
Okay.
But then they bring him back, and they sign him to a new contract. So you're paying
paying him
Jari.
twice.
You're paying Jari, and you're paying Shadow Jari from the Upside Down, right? And that's kind of the theme. This is going to be the theme. This whole season is Stranger Things.
Okay.
Because for one
Instead
thing,
of cha-ching,
yeah,
it's Stranger Things.
because we talked about this last week. Where
Maybe we should bring 11 out to the field. And,
well, okay, so we talked about this last week where you're up in the stands. They've turned the lights out on
Right.
everybody. because it helps them with their gigantic television set, which again is how you would watch Stranger Things if it were on TV.
Sure.
But you're up in the dark, you're watching the game, and you've got these like zombie players running around who don't even exist, but we're paying them anyway. Then you have Dennis Allen, who looks exactly like the little girl who played 11. It's uncanny.
I'll have to look at him.
So
put him in a little blonde wig.
Mm-hmm. And like Ali said last week, Sean Payton is basically the burnt out cop. And
I did hear that
his
part.
Pill addiction, and that's a little too perfect.
I wonder who the kid with the missing teeth is. Is that Kobe Fleener? Which one's Drew Brees? Drew Brees is Winona Ryder with the little lights and stuff. They're both past their prime.
I guess that's, yeah. I was going to say he was the kid.
Although she did a fucking kick-ass job in that show.
I was going to say
no
Drew
offense
is
to her.
the kid who is the kind of the leader. But it's more like...
I don't remember him. That show... I don't want it. I did make some funny jokes on Twitter the other night about because I was watching E.T. and I was like... I so love Stranger Things, I figured I'd give this movie E.T. a shot. Seems lame so far.
I saw that. Yeah, I don't want to get in a Stranger Things sidebar.
Well, people seem to really...
I would like Allie to be
strong,
here if we're going to talk about
feel
it.
strongly about it, and it's just like...
Yeah.
It was a revival nobody really needed.
Yeah.
It was like Amy Winehouse. It's like everybody loved her and stuff, and I was like, no, Gladys Knight and them are still alive. It's not like these. I could see how you would need a revival if the people were dead, but no, Gladys Knight, Aretha Franklin, and Patti LaBelle and them need gigs.
Yeah.
So let's
just go get them.
Fuck her.
They're not dead yet.
Yeah,
right?
they're not dead yet. So
anyway,
right. The offensive line totally sucks.
Okay, so yeah,
we got Taron Armstead. We got this globular creature named Zach Streif, who seems to have overstayed his welcome. Like he should have been cut years ago.
Well, okay, so Streif isn't exactly the problem, though. The problem is, Streif is
him being your number one guy is the problem. He's like the best. Unger's our best O lineman.
In a perfect world, you could go, okay, well, we got to address this Zach Streif issue, but Zach Streif is a journeyman tackle. Like he's just at the end of his career now, and the question with him is he good enough to continue to do journeyman work at this age? He may not be, and we're going to find out real quick this week because the Raiders.
He's in his 10th year, huh?
Yeah, and the Raiders have a star pass rusher who is probably going to line up in front of Streif a lot. And so that might be a problem this week. But that's not even the problem. The problem is these guards.
Pete, who we drafted, how does an offensive lineman suck? Like, you just have to be fat and stand in front of a guy. What are the mechanics of sucking as an offensive lineman?
In Pete's case, first of all, he was drafted to be a tackle. His skill set would, in that case, be he should be quick enough on his feet and be able to lock out his arms against defenders and stay in front of them and stuff.
And those are simple things. Like I know I'm not a big fat guy, but I think if take that away, I could do those things. Lock out my arms and stay in front of somebody. Like how do you fucking fail at your job that bad?
Well,
when all your job is to be fat. And to lock your arms. You just got to be fat and stand in front of a guy.
I guess. There's more to it than that.
Push a guy out of the way if they're rushing. Keep a guy from sacking the quarterback if they're passing.
I guess.
I'm going to apply for this job. Okay. I'm going to talk to Coach Payton. I'm like, maybe I could do it.
Okay.
Stand in front of these guys.
In the part of this that we recorded with Allie, I went back and read this great black and gold review article about Andres Pete. That was written basically a couple days after they drafted him. And what's hilarious about it is that Sean Payton basically drafted this guy because he knew his dad in high school. And he really liked his dad's letter jacket.
Is it real?
Yeah. I already read this in the part that I did with Alli, but it's one of these mini Sean Payton press conferences that have happened increasingly lately, where he says the phrase, "I remember it like it was yesterday."
He said that again?
He said
that in this one?
He said that in this one. This morning I found
remember it like it was yesterday.
This morning I found like 4 or 5 of these where he's like remembering things
really?
like it was yesterday.
Well, we need to start saying that in the Hunger Downcast.
So, Sean Payton is basically that's where he is now, like in his headspace.
So, I mean, he's over the hill.
He's like in
he's
the
like almost
chair.
got like a Arrested Development in that he's like everything stopped after those heady years between 2009 and when he came back from the suspension.
Yeah, I think like with
that was it. He's done. He's like New York and San Francisco.
Yeah, it's the suspension and all the Vicodin stuff, and then like
the loss of his marriage, the falling apart of his marriage. So
typical.
he had been just kicking ass, trying to get to where he was going. He reached the pinnacle, and then he was like, "Now what?" And he's not been able to find that. So he's sort of just had his goals taken away from him by his own achievement of them.
Yeah, and he's just kind of clinging on to the olden days and floundering about.
Yeah,
his BoJack Horseman.
I did read his book, and it is a lot about that. You can tell like that he's just driven to. He only knows one thing, and he's going to do that stuff. And you throw in a little painkiller addiction in there, and that's definitely going to jack everything up. And we have offense. We have offensive weapons. Brandon Cooks, Kobe Fleener, Marcus. Who the fuck? That other tall guy, the new tall guy,
Michael Thomas.
No, not him. There's another tall guy who played last year,
Brandon Coleman.
Yeah, him.
Who Peyton said midway through camp was having a pedestrian camp. He's just being pedestrian. Yeah, he got mad at Coleman, and he's called him pedestrian. He also got mad at Marcus Murphy, really mad at Marcus Murphy midway through because he was having a fumbling problem. He's like, "Oh, we'll just find another returner."
That was a dick thing to say. I'll go out of the bar right now and find me a returner, man. I don't fucking care. You can get them from beer trucks. If you follow the history of the Saints, you can just go out there and get a returner. It's true.
The conventional wisdom with the Saints is that people think the defense is better, although I am not exactly convinced of that. And they think that all the pieces are in place with the offense, except that the offensive line is so bad that it's going to, just negate that.
And Drew's going to get hurt.
Well, that's the way it's going to negate it most obviously. Like, Drew Brees will be hurt within 3 or 4 games. I mean, it's not.
It's okay because we got Luke McCown and then nobody because we cut Garrett Grayson today. Right. Oh, and Drew got signed. I'm so happy that happened. My vision that I had one night, just sitting there laying in bed thinking about the Saints, it almost like my entire vision. It must have been in another universe. I don't know. Because I was like, oh, here's what's going to happen. And then Drew's going to leave. But now he's not. Which sucks for him because he ain't ever going to win no other Super Bowl.
What's interesting about him actually signing the extension, which I was not sure he was going to do. I had kind of resigned myself to this being the last Drew Brees season.
I thought that too.
But the fact that he signed an extension that we know he's going to play 2 years on at least is that it resets this narrative. I had thought going into last season that they were blowing off last season in a rebuilding mode. I kind of thought, well, they had just decided to say, fuck this season. We are stockpiling draft choices, and we're trying to see what we can do to make one last run at this thing in 2016.
This has been a narrative that has gone on throughout the history of the Hunker Downcast.
And they failed to make it. At this point, the offensive line is so fucked up that it's just not going to work. But now that they have another year or two with Breeze, and provided, that Breeze can play till 40, which is asking
could happen.
Maybe they do have a chance to put it together, but not this year.
Well, we got to look at also the other teams in our division, which Carolina, everyone is super hot on. Yeah, I don't see them falling off too much, although I think they do have a bunch of rookie cornerbacks. We might could burn them. It's real easy to think the last year was a fluke
with Carolina,
with those guys.
Well, they lost Josh Norman, which is a big part of their defense. I mean, they still have, I think, most of the defensive line, which is pretty good. But on offense, they're not that scary. They've got Cam and, Ted Ginn, and who's like 90,000 years old. And I guess Kelvin Benjamin. But I don't even know who their starting running back is right now. So, I mean, Carolina is beatable in the right circumstances. Not by the Saints, but, beatable.
Maybe by the Saints, sure.
Atlanta's garbage.
Oh, I have Atlanta in my loser pool that I'm doing with some Jackson Square artists. I think I have San Diego. I picked teams that I totally went homer on this, which I don't normally do with bets. But I was like, I am going to either win this fucking $60 or $40, and I'm going to enjoy doing it because I picked like Atlanta, San Diego, who I'd love to see lose because even though I was born in San Diego, I just can't stand the Chargers mostly because of the ownership.
Okay,
and that's a deep hate for a team when you hate their ownership.
You have to explain what this pool is.
So we're betting on who's going to be the worst.
So you pick a team, or
we picked 4 teams, and then the most losses wins of the 4 teams.
Okay,
I picked Atlanta because I was just like, it's going to be fun watching them in San Diego just lose.
Who are your other 2 teams?
I wish I had come prepared for that. But I think it was like I didn't pick Cleveland because I don't want to see them lose. I want to see Cleveland win. I didn't pick Jacksonville. Because I don't want to see them lose.
On paper, they're not that bad.
It's time.
Yeah.
I mean, every team has to at least rise up at some point. You can't just suck all the goddamn time.
Yeah, you can.
Not in the NFL, though. Less so.
It's hard, but you can do it.
Well, I don't know who I picked. But also, we did spread heads last year, and you need to pay up me a little bit of money.
Are we doing spread heads again this year?
We can do it this year, yeah. And you can, well, I mean, I don't think you're going to drop as much as you owe me tonight. But you should definitely not try and be cute like you were last year with picking Dallas. I was like
spread heads last year.
It was so odd to me that I was like, he's crazy like a fox. He knows something. And I was like, nope.
So spread heads worked like this. I picked a team and you picked a team.
That's a copyright too. Copyright spread heads.
And we just went through the whole season, difference in margin of victory. My team won by 6 points and your team lost by 4 points. Well, then that's 10 points to me that week. It never worked that way in a single week.
I can't believe that we let it go by. Then we didn't watch the game together. But at some point, Green Bay played Dallas last year, and I think they killed them.
Yeah,
I made like $50 or something that night because it was like I got all the points. That like they had beat them by like 25 points, and I got the 25 points because my team beat another team by 25 points.
This was a disaster.
And then you also had to pay me another 25 points because your team got beat by another team, which was my team. So it was like you weren't going to recover, and also that you had already had a bad streak running into that, and it got to like over 100.
Well, if the team that you pick breaks its quarterback, you're fucked.
Your quarterback, your team's quarterback broke himself, though.
So
I was there on Thanksgiving Day.
Nobody's buying Dallas this year. So
delete your account at NFL.com, Tony Romo. Delete your account, man. It's over, bro.
So anyway, where did we land on this?
We've talked about a lot of football. Let's take a break and do SOSO.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so do you want to give me a number on the Saints before we do this? You have
like what I think they're going to do?
Yeah.
God. I started out being everyone expects them to suck, so I think they're going to be good.
That's always a temptation.
And then I went through a long period of everyone thinks they suck, and I think they suck. So I'm going to come back and say everyone thinks they're going to suck. So I'm going to try and say they're going to be good, and I'm going to say 9-7.
Okay, so good. After all that,
because they got a pretty easy schedule.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, they're playing like San Diego, Oakland, Denver with a new quarterback, and whoever the fuck the Chiefs. I mean, they don't scare me. And then who's the other division? We're playing Seattle at home. Fuck, we might could just dig deep down in ourselves and beat them because they got it coming to them. They beat us 3 times.
I guess we get the Rams.
We've got the LA Rams.
Yeah.
Hey man, let's do it for old time's sake.
Right.
You know, they might wear their throwback jerseys. It'll be awesome. That old yellow. Arizona.
A lot of people are picking Arizona to win the Super Bowl.
They keep winning games.
So let me tell you, our friend Mr. Cleo's theory this year is that it's going to be like that 1993 team with Wade Wilson as the quarterback. And this was right towards the end of the Jim Moore era, where the Jim Moore team had kind of gone over the hill, and it was in decline, and a lot of Saints fans didn't realize it yet, but some of us kind of knew. But anyway, they were on the way down, and their quarterback was Wade fucking Wilson. Right. So that team starts 5-0, and you have a lot of like Saints fans going, "Ha, haters, see, blah 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 blah," and I swear a lot of us were like, "Just wait," and that team fucking collapsed. That's what Chris sees this as. Like he's telling me that like we have kind of an easy schedule at the beginning. Could even lose to Oakland, but go 3-1 and have a lot of people high on them, and then watch it all fall apart.
If you look at in the Peyton era, we've only gone 7-9, 11-5, or 13-3.
They've never finished worse than 7-9.
7-9 has always been right, and I think one year they finished 8-8. But generally, they do 13-3, 11-5, or 7-9, with one exception at 8-8 because some fluke must have happened. So going 9-7, that's kind of weird, but that fluke is still out there. I'm going to go 9-7.
You got 9-7.
Yep. And that might get you in the playoffs.
I mean, the conventional wisdom is that the defense is good, but I don't know about that. The offense has all those pieces that can work if the offensive line works. Offensive line is so shitty. It's so shitty. Is Jari Evans even able to stand up? Like, is it going to matter? I don't know. I think 7-9 is a good year.
Well, that's not a very adventurous.
No, I know, but I think 7-9 is the.
Oh wow, they've done that the last 2 years, and they did that 1 year back in the 2007
7-9 is
or
a good year
2008
in
or
the
something.
context of it being.
And they did that the year that Peyton was suspended. Yeah. Oh wow, 7-9, sure.
But listen, it's in the context of it of this not being the end all be all year. Now that they've got Breeze extended, now that they've got another year to continue on with the program, and maybe next year there'll be something. I think they could do a 7-9 and not feel terrible about themselves.
Okay, 9-7, 7-9.
There you go.
And are we doing spread heads?
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll work it out.
Think about your team. We'll do it after the first week.
Okay. All right. So, but you want to take a break and then we'll come and do the thing. All right. So let's do that. And so I'll drop it here.
I'm playing for the Lions. I'm playing for the Lions. It's not bad timing 'cause I'm getting pussy. And I'm getting pussy. Back in high school, I got pussy. I played for the Lions.
So we're back, and thanks to Menkles for bringing us Popeyes, by the way.
We just ate some dog meat chicken.
Oh, yeah, so here we are. This is Stepping On, Stepping Out. We already did the Stepping On, Stepping Out with Alli. We recorded that last night, and I guess maybe I should drop in hers right now to the show, and then we'll come right back.
It'll be like she's kind of here.
Yeah, that's what I wanted for this.
Man, you're getting like Scorsese-like in your editing of this show.
We're doing this thing where it's like we're becoming that band where like they live in different cities, and like one guy makes the music and like sends it to the guy who writes the song, and then they send it back, and it's all like done through the mail or some shit like that.
Like I think George Michael and Aretha Franklin recorded "Knew You Were Waiting" in that way.
Okay.
Like they were never actually together.
Yeah, but the illusion is that we're all here doing the show together.
Yeah.
We'll get better at it as we go along.
Sure.
But eventually, this will just be us, leaving text messages for each other. Or voicemails, I guess.
I could do that. I've thought about several times just like doing little tidbits of things I'm thinking about or I've opinions about in New Orleans and just recording them and sending them in, but...
Yeah, do it. Start just...
Well, then I'm making it all about me and stuff, and it's a group.
I like sitting in the room with y'all and drinking, so...
Okay. Well, yeah, we need to do that as much as possible. So,
anyway.
Wait, we're going to stop. Allie's going to do it.
Okay.
Allie's going to... What happened to you, Allie?
Okay, so this is going to be Allie's contribution for SOSO this week. You've been out of town, right?
I've been out of town. I was in Memphis for my friend's bachelorette party, and I'm between jobs right now, so I could take my leisurely way back and do some Mississippi exploring on the way back, and that's what I did.
So you got canned, and then you made your bindle, and you went a roaming through the wilds of Mississippi. Is this accurate, or?
That's the broad contours of it. I didn't get canned, but yeah, I left.
Yeah.
But it was my best friend in the world. I've known her for over 20 years. It's her bachelorette party, and she listens to this show. So hi, Katie. So I drove there, and there were 9 of us total, and we stayed in a big condo downtown. And we did all the things, man. We got drinks on the rooftop at the Madison Hotel. Went to this place called Laughlin Yard, which is kind of like Bacchanal. It's like an outdoor courtyard with music, and you can get food and drinks and stuff from a like kitchen bar. It was really nice. We went to Beale Street, which is like Bourbon Street.
Right.
We had fun. We made it fun. I will say this though, that like the cover bands on Beale Street play Pride and Joy and Mustang Sally. Just you'll hear them like 4 or 5 times if you stay for a whole night.
So it is like on Bourbon Street.
Yeah, it's good. And then on Saturday we did a bunch of stuff, but I also had time to like explore on my own. And I used to do some work up in Shelby County and where Memphis is, so I was able to go see some things. Like they have this huge park called Shelby Farms Park, and they just completed actually on Thursday, which I didn't realize that it had just been completed, but they just did this whole project to restore this huge lake through it, and they built a big, like a visitor center and like a boathouse and all this beautiful stuff, and they planted all these trees, and they had just finished it, and so I just kind of drove out there on a lark, like, I wonder what that park looks like.
Because you can't go anywhere and not be a planning geek, right?
Right, exactly.
Right. So let's go check out the park. Ooh.
Yep.
Nice visitor center, guys. Way to go.
It was really nice.
Awesome.
And so I did some stuff like that. As a group, we did an aerial silks class.
Oh, what?
So, like, have you ever seen ladies doing this at events around town? They, like, hang big silks from the ceiling, and then they do, like, acrobatic things in the silks.
No, wait. I don't understand.
We did this at a warehouse. So picture this at a warehouse, like, many dozens of feet high.
Okay.
And they hang these big fabric drapes
Like
almost.
babushkas or
No, just like a curtain, but thinner.
okay.
And to the floor.
All right.
And they're, so it's like a big bunch of fabric that you can hold, but you can also like wrap it around yourself, and they do all these acrobatics in the fabric.
Acrobatics in the fabric. I mean they're not climbing?
Yeah.
They are.
They climb up, they do aerial moves in the fabric. It's amazing.
Is this set to music? Is it like an Olympic event, or is it like
No, it's more like Cirque du Soleil kind of stuff.
But people just do it like as a hobby.
Yeah, and they perform and stuff. Like I've seen them at events. Like, it's the kind of thing that would be paired with burlesque dancers. But it was great. It was really hard, and it required a lot of strength, and we had a blast doing it. So it was fun.
Okay.
I have all these really cool bruises on the back of my legs from...
Really cool bruises.
They're really gross. Because in addition to the silks, another thing we did was they have these hoops hanging from the air, and so we had to do work to get up into the hoop and then, like... do things in the hang pretty in the hoop and stuff, and it was really hard.
Hang pretty in the hoop.
Yeah, it was good. And we went out and we sang karaoke.
Like Chuck E. Cheese or
we sang
something.
karaoke at a drag bar.
Sure you did.
I sang Old Time Rock and Roll by Bob Seger.
Oh God, of course you did.
I fucking nailed it.
Oh, I'll bet.
Yeah, you didn't sound sincere when you said that.
I mean, I'm just telling you. I'm sure that
I did dance moves, and they were cheering wildly for me. So
Okay.
it was great.
Do it hanging from a hoop next time and see.
And then we went to this place called Paula and Rayford's Disco, which is downtown, and I don't really know how to describe it. I've never been in a place like that. It was a disco. I mean, we walked in and they were playing Thriller.
So I mean, it's a club, right?
It's a club.
Okay.
It's cash only. There's a red carpet outside. They have to check your bag, and when you get inside, it's painted white, but it's covered in black handprints, like everywhere. And there's
like haunted house.
It's all like black, white, and red. There's like strings of lights, like those LED like tube lights, like floating around everywhere. There's like little tinsel things just like taped to the wall. It had a live drum set as part of the disco. So like there was attached to the dance floor was a drum set that if you were good at drums and wanted to play them along with the DJ, you could do so.
It was just like open drum set where people could just walk up and...
At first I thought there was one drummer who was just part of the thing, but I think it is just a thing that you can play. Who knew? It was very loud. It was very smoky. Memphis still allows smoking in bars, so that was the first time I've been in a smoky bar in a while. Going back to that was a little weird.
So let's see. That's rooftop drinks, then the Bacchanal place, and then the hanging from hoops with the silk babushka dancing around, and then the fancy disco place, right?
And karaoke.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So, were there additional activities on top of these, or?
The next day we went. We went for brunch at the Peabody before we went home. So we saw the Peabody Ducks.
Yeah, the Peabody is a historic hotel.
Yeah.
In Memphis.
Yeah.
And so they have brunch there.
Yeah.
So also brunch on top of all those other things.
Yeah.
Brunch.
Well, we needed brunch to cap off the whole weekend. So,
okay.
Yeah.
No. I guess my question is, when I got here earlier, you were telling me about you guys were telling me about how Memphis is kind of, it hasn't been hit by the hipster wave yet, right?
No,
as opposed to like Nashville, which is kind of hipster central and it's kind of getting expensive. And other cities in the South, and New Orleans being one of them. Mm-hmm. But then these activities you just described to me are like, well, wait a minute, a lot of cool kid stuff, right?
I mean, like we're all women in our early 30s, so I mean, I don't think that's like the kind of stuff we like to do.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think it's indicative of anything in particular. And like Paula and Rayford's Disco is like, that was a very diverse crowd. We went to a drag bar. I mean, I'm pretty sure every city has a bar like that where it's just like a dive bar where it's okay to be you and me. You know, like there's places like that all over.
That's cool.
And they still have smoking in bars, so they have.
That is something. I actually took me aback. I didn't realize that we were actually ahead of anybody in that regard.
Yeah, Memphis hasn't banned that yet. So.
I've gotten so much less tolerant of like people smoking around me since we banned smoking in New Orleans.
Yeah, man.
I used to just, I never smoked, but now I can tell.
Yeah.
So I
sounded like I had a frog in my throat all day yesterday, and I was like, I wasn't like yelling or anything. I was like, oh right, it's because all the secondhand smoke from the bars. But man, we had so much fun, and we celebrated my friend, and it was a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And then on the way home, I adventured through Mississippi. On Sunday
again with the bindle, but.
Right. Since we were done with the Bachelorette on Sunday and Notre Dame was playing Sunday night, I didn't want to have to like drive all the way back to New Orleans just to get to watch the game in time. I kind of wanted to take it easy. And so I decided to get a hotel in Oxford for the night because I'd never been to Oxford before. The bad thing about going to Oxford on the Sunday of a holiday weekend is that like everything's closed on Sunday anyway in that town.
Because you're up there in Yonctopahomta County or whatever.
Yes. And then on Labor Day, everything was also closed. So
of course.
There was very little I could actually do. But I did. But Square Books was open, the independent bookstore on Oxford Square, and I walked around Oxford Square. And it was really cool, and I spent a lot of time in the bookstore. It was a really great bookstore. And then I watched the Notre Dame game at the hotel. Also, Oxford tip, the bars close at 9 on Sundays.
This is why these people get so obnoxiously drunk at the football game.
That's correct.
Because they have nowhere to go afterwards, and just that's the end of the day for them, right?
Yeah.
I hate your goddamn Tigers! I hope they die on the way home! Like, Ole Miss football is my life, Robert. They're my life. They're my life.
So the next day I got breakfast and stuff, and then I went to go explore campus. And first of all, the Grove ain't shit. That is my first impression from that campus. Because I was like, I gotta see the Grove.
Were they playing in Oxford that weekend? Or
No.
Okay.
No, I'm just like the Grove is tiny. It's just like a wooded area of campus. Like LSU has like 4 of these, except they've just got live oaks on them. Like, I don't understand what the big to-do is about the Grove.
Okay. The Grove sucks.
The Grove ain't shit. However, Ole Miss, I feel like, has done a good job coming to grips with their institutional history. It's a beautiful campus, but when you drive up, the first thing you see is a huge Confederate monument.
I was about to ask you how many Confederate flags per square mile did you come on, but
I didn't see any other than the ones that are part of the Mississippi State flag.
Okay. Well.
But when you come up to campus, you see through the trees, you see the Lyceum, their main admin building. But there's a big Confederate monument at the front, and I was like, oh, Lord, of course. But then I got close, and there's a plaque in front of the Confederate monument, and I'll read a little bit of it to you.
Okay.
It said, as Confederate veterans were passing from the scene in increasing numbers, memorial associations built monuments in their memory all across the South. This statue was dedicated by citizens of Oxford and Lafayette County in 1906. On the evening of September 30th, 1962, the statue was a rallying point where a rebellious mob gathered to prevent the admission of the university's first African-American student. It was also at this statue that a local minister implored the mob to disperse and allow James Meredith to exercise his rights as an American citizen. On the morning after that long night, Meredith was admitted to the university and graduated in August 1963. This historic structure is a reminder of the university's past and of its current and ongoing commitment to open its hallowed halls to all who seek truth and knowledge and wisdom. If you're gonna keep your monument up, this is pretty prominent. I saw it right as I walked up, and it was the first thing I read. So that's not a bad way to do it.
So that's one of the things that some of the, let's compromise on the Confederate monuments crowd has mentioned.
Sure.
Is explanatory plaques. I guess that's one of them. And I guess that adds a little level of meaning to it. I don't know what you would do with
There is also a statue of James Meredith behind the Lyceum, and it is huge. I mean, not the statue of him personally, but it is part of a whole memorial, which I believe they dedicated it at something called the open door ceremony because the statue of James Meredith is walking through what looks to be an open door, and on the top it says like opportunity and knowledge and wisdom and all these things. And so the Lyceum, the famous building with the columns, that is their university logo and their oldest building. It's on the other side of that. And then there is also a plaque over there that explains how, I think this is the more accurate one. So this one says, on October 1st, 1962, James Meredith broke the rigid segregation in Mississippi's higher education when he became the first African-American student at the University of Mississippi. Though federal courts had ordered his admission, Governor Ross Barnett and other state leaders stood in defiant opposition. The evening before Meredith enrolled, President John F. Kennedy deployed to the campus the United States Army and Federalized National Guard to quell rioting segregationists. The following day, agents of the United States Department of Justice escorted Meredith to the Lyceum building where he registered. He graduated in August of 1963. I think that is actually a very succinct and clear picture of what happened. Federal courts ordered it. Governor Ross Barnett, one of the true villains of history, said no. And it took the president federalizing the National Guard and Bobby Kennedy's DOJ to make it happen.
Yeah, they had to Jade Helm their ass into doing it.
Absolutely. I was very impressed with the efforts to reconcile the institution's past with the institution's present. I thought that was cool. The epilogue on James Meredith, as you probably know, is that he went on to be kind of a right-wing stooge. He became kind of a friend and therefore prop of David Duke during his ascendancy in Louisiana. He was often a guest of David Duke's at the state legislature when he was there. Also endorsed David Duke for governor. So that was not that it, I guess, really takes away from the significance of his role, but it does kind of. It's a quirk of the story. He ended up being he went on to be David Duke's little pal, I guess. I mean, I don't think there's anything extraordinarily weird about somebody who was part of such a huge thing going on and being weird later in their life. I think that's happened before and it'll happen again.
Yeah, good. Now I get to...
sometimes people just get it all their good stuff over with in the beginning and then they're free to do whatever I don't know.
Right. No, that's fair enough.
I don't think it takes away from what he did in 1962, which was unbelievably brave. But after hanging out on campus, I drove south. I took the Natchez Trace Parkway towards Port Gibson, and that was awesome. For those of you who don't know, the Natchez Trace Parkway is a part of the National Park Service, and so it is a 2-lane road, speed limit 50, very limited access, just through this beautiful rural landscape. That was my favorite part of the whole day. It was beautiful.
Mississippi might be the most beautiful shitty state in the country. I guess there's a sliding scale for shitty and beautiful, but Mississippi is a pretty one.
Man.
It's also pretty shitty, but that's...
It was really beautiful. It has topography. It has all these rolling hills. And
I've been through there.
Oh, God, it was great. And then I went to see the Windsor Ruins, which I don't know if you've been up there. Kind of like the Southern Gothic Stonehenge.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it was fascinating. The plaque about the Windsor Ruins didn't mention that slaves had built them, but I was.
It's implied.
It was an old plaque,
right.
But they were stunning. They were massive. The photos don't really do it justice. They are in the middle of absolutely nowhere. The closest major thing to them is Alcorn State University, and Alcorn State University is not big at all. It is remote. My phone didn't work for 3 hours.
Oh my God.
And I forgot to tell Pat that I was making this detour. And so when I got back into service, blown up with text how you doing? You all right? It's yep, I'm good. I was in the upside down of Mississippi.
For a little while.
Yeah. So anyway, I had a really good time exploring Mississippi. Although, before I left Oxford, when I was checking out of my hotel, the only clean shirt I had left was an LSU shirt. And predictably, I'm standing at the checkout desk, and some shitty dude says, not to me, but to the guy behind the checkout counter, wow, I'd really like to wipe the ugly off of her shirt. Said that in front of his children.
Not a comment on anything other than just the shirt,
It was just,
You didn't appreciate it.
I'm a football fan. I get a little good-natured ribbing, but stuff like that just, especially if you're not going to say it to me, but to the man that I'm interacting with, that, it just felt really gross. I just wish I had had the presence of mind to say, oh, that's so nice of you to say in front of your kids. Or just something just real. I just was I was put off by it for a little bit. And then I was self-conscious of it all day. All day. Until I left Oxford.
Well, you shouldn't have internalized it. Then you let him win that way, right?
I guess. I don't know. It's a weird town. It's very small.
All right.
But anyway, it was a good time. It was a good trip. That's a lot of me talking about my trip, but
that's what we wanted. We wanted to hear about
lot.
your trip. In fact, you're about to take off tomorrow, so
yeah, I had these planned back to back for a while, and it just was good timing. This trip includes my friend's wedding, so going up to that
bachelorette party and now a wedding.
Yeah, I'm just glad that Hurricane Hermine is not. They've discontinued all the tropical storm warnings up there because it was going to be that the timing had it gone straight up the coast.
I'm just glad that storm finally got it together. After all, a month long of people doubting it and talking down to it, it finally just told the haters to shut up. No, I'm going to be a storm and watch me work. And that's, then if I felt for a while that we were it's maybe this is what LSU's season's going to be like, the storm starts off kind of bad and shaky, and people are doubting it, but eventually it's going to make something of itself. And
this dovetails really nicely with another prediction I saw on Twitter, which is that LSU's going to respond to this by getting it together just enough to beat the pants off of one SEC West team so bad that they have to fire their coach.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for. Just let's
so
go.
Who do you want to fire? Kevin Sumlin, Gus Malzahn? Who do you want to fire?
I mean, Saban is asking too much.
It is. We're not going to beat Alabama this year.
So
not with this offense.
Malzahn, I'll take Malzahn.
Okay, just send Auburn back to the wilderness for a while.
Sure. Malzahn, by the way, he's got a fancy offense. That's what when they hired him. Oh, we're going to modernize our offense over here at Auburn.
You don't have a quarterback either.
Well, see what happens.
Yeah. All right.
Well, yeah. So
well, have fun recording with Lance. Hi, Lance.
Yeah, thanks for doing this, and have a good trip.
Thanks.
And we'll catch you next time.
See you next time, Tim and M.
Man, that shit was crazy. God damn, girl, I'm glad you all right. Well, oh wait, you need to go get something? All right, hold on. Allie's stepping out to go get something. I don't know. I Lucky Rabbit's foot or something.
Did you enjoy that part where they went to the disco in Memphis?
That shit was cray. And she's so cray.
Or the part where they went and played with the silk screens in Memphis?
Man, that shit. I wish I was there partying with them.
Mm-hmm.
I like Memphis.
They tore it up.
Turn
is it? Is it my turn?
Yeah, you go.
It's my turn. Because this is the football episode, I thought that I would just do this is the 50th anniversary of the New Orleans Saints football team. And maybe this is just my, only Enola bias or whatever it is that they pick on you for now, being, someone who lives in New Orleans and cares about what the fuck it's like to live in New Orleans. I think that the Saints are important. It's one of those irreplaceable parts of, just the atmosphere of being in the city, whether you're a football fan or not, whether you're even a sports fan or not. It's inescapable. It's around you all the time.
Yeah, you got to get used to it, even if you're a football hater.
Yeah, even if you're one of those people who doesn't like sports balls
or
whatever. And it's definitely, this is the 50th year of it. And I mean, I think that's significant. Buddy D used to say that the Saints, to him, played a part in moving New Orleans through the civil rights movement.
Jesus.
I think that that's a little bit overblown.
Because people were getting together and watching football?
Yes. That he used to talk about that all the time.
Yeah, that's a stretch.
I think it's a stretch, although I don't think that he was being dishonest about it. I think that for
him, maybe it was.
For Buddy Dell'Abrodo, I think it probably was. For people in his circle and from his perspective, it probably did make a difference in smoothing over race relations in New Orleans at a time when segregation was ending. I think that tangibly you can point to some activism on the part of NFL players prior to the Saints arriving. They threatened to boycott New Orleans during its hosting of the NFL All-Star Game.
Okay.
I mean, you can point to stuff like that as, a sidebar to the civil rights movement. But in fact, I think to say that the Saints had a large hand in, the way Buddy would say it, was like really kind of helping New Orleans avoid some of the problems that other cities had. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that actually diminishes the actual struggle of activists on the street. It also it puts into the background some of the actual struggles that happened in New Orleans, particularly with the desegregation of the school system. It puts in the background, prominent activists like Avery Alexander, Aretha Castle Haley, and some other people who, I don't think it's fair to say that, but I do think that from
his perspective, he probably does think that.
Yeah, and that's fine.
He is what he is, so it's the best you can get at a Buddy D.
Yeah, and I didn't want to be too down on that. What I was trying to say was that for Buddy D and for a lot of New Orleanians of his generation, and especially of my generation, I was basically raised after the Saints arrived in New Orleans. It's a thing that brings the whole city together.
Right.
Like it's a cultural touchstone.
In misery or
glory or whatever may come. But anyway, this is all a long diversion to talk a little bit about just my anticipation of the fan experience of going to Saints games, because that's going to happen.
In Section 617.
And yeah,
I might be there this Sunday. I was there last year for them to lose against the Bucks. That sucked.
Yeah, so Roz and I and Mankles and a couple of other of our friends have season tickets in the Superdome, and every now and then there are some that are floating that some of the other guys.
At some point this year, all three of the Hunkers will probably be there.
Yeah,
and we can talk about.
One of the things that I noticed this was actually new last year, but it's hitting me more this year. Going to the 2 preseason games, Mankles and I typically will take the streetcar down and get off on Carondelet and like Girard Street, and we'll walk to the Dome from there. And that little walk has changed in so many ways since 2006. Those parking lots are now big box condos.
Okay.
And everything, it's these big
airspace.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all airspace.
Warehouse district, visitors, containment zone, sort of.
It's like walking through Houston. On the first level, it's all like shops, but they're all interchangeable. They're all just like glass wall, and one could be the other, and it doesn't really matter which one is which.
Right.
And
right.
I mean, you've got restaurants that could just move in and out, and they're indistinguishable.
And they do.
It's just a completely different feel, and you feel like you are walking through a completely different city now than you used to. And that's weird, and that's going to take a lot of getting used to. It's going to take a lot of when they were flat-ass parking lots and ugly shit, that was bad enough, but at least it was like being in your city, but in the shitty part of it.
Right. Now it's
like being in an alien world. And
not so alien. It's just what the rest of America looks like.
Yeah,
airspace has invaded that corridor. Is what you're saying?
That's right.
Yeah.
So you walk through this like fake airspace area to get to the Dome, and then you get to the Dome, and you're constantly paying more and more for beer, and
another quarter for a Miller Lite. That's lame. Sucks.
I never want to hate on it because first of all, the Superdome is probably my favorite building in the whole city of New Orleans. There are these people who are architecture geeks and who fetishize the preserved historic quality of New Orleans, but the Superdome is just this perfect, elegant shape It's a public building. It's a state building. It's a place where the whole city comes together to kind of like
see Guns N' Roses,
or
maybe Beyonce,
or
if
Pope.
I'm lucky later this year,
So-
or inaugurate a president, or see a WrestleMania.
And there's a part of it that feels like it's ours, like it's our building. And I don't like the idea that Tom fucking Benson is allowed to rake everybody over the coals just for admittance to their building. And we have to like look at his fucking statue as we walk in every time.
Well, geez, Jeff, this is supposed to be the fucking entertainment segment.
Sorry,
man.
I'm sorry.
God damn, it is getting heavy in here.
All right. Well, the good news is we are the sort of people who will put up with all of those things.
Still, pay the extra quarter.
And
I mean, you're ripping them off anyways. You're sneaking liquor in. You done told us that. So.
And
it rounds out. Your season tickets end up being about $40 a game.
something like that.
Ah, so yeah, quit your bitching.
Because, we sit on the top of the dome. We sit in the last row.
Yep. 617.
In what we think is the best section of the room. You can sit there and
banging on the wall just like that.
We have a lot of room to move around because we're in the
you can see the whole field.
You can. The
plays really open up in front of you.
It's like you're playing Madden.
You can see a guy open.
I guess so. You want me to be positive about it? I'm very excited.
No, I'm saying describe like there was a nice beer vendor and someone tore your ticket and called you baby.
Well, no, not this week.
Okay. Well, what happened when you were there to see the Ravens?
Because it's preseason. The second preseason game was especially like empty. Like there was almost nobody at this game.
That's like as low as it gets for preseason.
The only people, in fact, Rosalind didn't go, Hope didn't go, Mankles didn't even go. I went to this game by myself.
Jesus.
And I got there, and you know who was up there? Ryan Hancock.
Okay, wow. How did he end up there? He had heard about it and went?
Was sitting up in 617. So
just waiting on y'all.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we went up there and I watched the game of Ryan. That was fine, but nothing compares to opening day at the Dome. We're gonna be there this weekend. It's September 11th, which is gonna be a little bit weird. Given the Kaepernick story and everything, and the fact that Drew Brees opened his big mouth in
well, somebody asked him about it, didn't they?
Well,
you know what the worst part about that story is that it's Kaepernick. That it's fucking Kaepernick. I'm like, you are the worst, the more annoying Russell Wilson.
I don't know. Nobody's more annoying than Russell Wilson.
Okay, the second most annoying Russell Wilson. Actually, second only to Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson is the more annoying Drew Brees. If you really,
I would take Drew Brees over both those guys.
Okay.
Although he does open his mouth when he really shouldn't, but I mean, the guy's a fucking basket case, and that he is what he is. And Kaepernick suddenly, when he's benched, now suddenly becomes a crusader. And I was like, motherfucker, you wouldn't be doing this shit if you had a fucking starting quarterback job. You would be playing right along with it. Now that you lost your job, you're going like, this is all bullshit and I'm going to stand up for something. It's just like, I don't fucking care. Yeah, he's right. He's right. Shit in this country is fucked up. But it's Kaepernick. I'm not going to fucking just say, hey, it's okay for Kaepernick to do this because this dude doesn't have the standing.
The standing in different ways.
Yeah, there's so many layers to that.
But so your take on this is different from...
It's like, fuck, Kaepernick's still in the news.
So your take on this is different from the standard take, which I think is bullshit. And the standard take is, well, I agree with what he's saying, but I don't agree with his method. Which is dumb because that's the protest.
His method is dumb too. Everything about it is dumb.
Well, no, the method is the protest. Like that's it's this is what athletes do when they want to make a statement. They use their platform.
He didn't want to make the statement until it looked like he was going to be benched and the spotlight wasn't going to be on him. So he's making a protest. He's being a fucking prima donna.
That's speculative. I don't know if that's true, but I
have you not been following this dude's career and how he's been and with the stories about the tattoos and everything? I mean, this dude is a fucking douchebag, man.
Right. I'm not a fan of Kaepernick, right? But I do think that athletes should be. I want to push back against this whole notion that athletes need to sit down and shut up and just play the game.
I'm not saying athletes do. Well, no, actually, yeah, fuck it, they do. Fuck that. Or off the field, go write your little editorials like Ben Watson does and shit like that. Do whatever. But if you're there, you're at the game, just fucking do what you got to do and go play the game and get your fucking check. I mean, fuck, man. Go to the protest. Be a fucking protester. But when you go to play the game, then just go play the game. Fuck.
So on 9/11, what's going to happen is the NFL is going to go super America, and they're going to have like flyovers at stadiums, and they're going to have,
that sucks for them too. And the same shit applies to the NFL for trying to be like that.
They are going to wrap themselves in the flag, and they're going to be. There's also this thing where they work in concert with military recruiters.
That's in November, isn't it? When they start wearing camouflage?
Yes.
That's dumb, too. I don't want them to do that. I'm as mad at the NFL for doing that shit as I am at Kaepernick for doing his shit. It's just like, we're doing this for our fucking respite.
So, okay,
so
but
leave.
But as long as the boss is getting to do that shit, I think that the employees should also get to have their
Nobody
say.
should be doing it. There shouldn't be the breast cancer thing. There shouldn't be the fucking military thing. There shouldn't be all that shit. Just leave it the fuck out. We're here to watch the goddamn game.
Yes, yeah. I think we're going to disagree on that, but that's going to be a whole other show. I think that's fine.
All right. Well, I mean, you can disagree on it, but my way is like, hey, eliminate all that shit from it, and your way is like, here's the different ways that we can do it, and it's all going to end up being shit.
Do you know why? I think we disagree? For the same reason that I thought that Spencer Hall article was so good. And it's because the cognitive dissonance that we put into our experience of like being football fans and being ourselves and being football fans, but knowing how shitty it is to the players and knowing how shitty it is, especially to the college players, it's the same.
I mean, it's shitty to some of those players.
But look, it's the same thing as
a lot of players go on to have perfectly fine lives afterwards.
But it's the same thing as knowing what life is like, just as an American citizen. Like, how, like, just, like, the thing, even participating...
Somebody works in a sweatshop to create my tennis shoes.
That kind of thing, yes.
That's why I try and live it up as much as I can.
Right. But what I'm saying is that you can have your joy and you can have your despair and you can have your righteous indignation, and you don't have to compartmentalize them. You can have them all at one time. And that's why I do sports with politics in the same part of my brain. And I probably always am going to do that. And I think it's okay for athletes to do that. And I think it's okay to bring these
Kaepernick's just making himself feel good.
Yeah,
and so is the NFL, although certainly more in a more manipulative way to try and get fucking kids to go join the army and participate in the fucking military industrial complex and all that shit. Fuck it. It's the best way is just to say, don't leave all that shit out of it. It's a fucking game. Like, I've always thought that players, when everyone's like, yeah, so-and-so wants to win another championship, blah, 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 blah. I was like, so-and-so probably wants to win another championship, but he is living his life still. This shit is a job to him. He's trying to negotiate the best contract so he can provide for his family or get diamond fucking rings or whatever he wants to do. So winning the championship is super important to the fans of the team, and it's of some importance to the players, I bet. But I bet you getting paid in the whole the same thing that motivates an average person motivates players, in that they want to get as paid as they can, have as good a time as they can while they can.
Yeah.
And so that the experience for them is not the same thing that we're having. So when they're not trying so hard, or someone gets on the back end of a contract or whatever, and everyone's just like, yeah, he's just mailing it in. It's like, yeah, fuck yeah, he's mailing it in. It's like fucking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the airplane. He's like, tell your old man to fucking drag Lanier up and down the court. So like, no, I'm doing a fucking job. It's hard.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is himself one of the more outspoken athletes.
Well,
But
I don't mind it so much when it's a dude like Muhammad Ali, where it's one dude and he's not part of a team and a part of this whole organization.
okay.
That's a little bit more, or Serena Williams or somebody. It's like, hey, you want to go up there and act like, do something to create something to draw attention to yourself and to the cause, because I'm not in any way convinced that Kaepernick is doing this for the cause.
I completely
I'm pretty
understand
sure
your
Kaepernick
argument.
is doing this for Kaepernick.
I'll tell you, I completely understand that argument.
Okay, then fine.
I'm in sympathy with that.
Serena Williams going out and doing something like that's fine. The only thing it's bothering is Serena Williams. And she has her own reputation. She'll lose a deal or whatever, fine or not. But Kaepernick has got a whole fucking team around him that he's got all this attention is getting drawn to it, and it's just like, and then I don't even have time to get into like how abstract the pledge is and how abstract America is. And if you're going to do something against an abstract thing like that, people are going to take it the wrong way, and it's better to just do it in a way that's direct.
Okay.
Just do it in a way. Write an essay. That's what Ben Watson does. Ben Watson writes his ass some essays, and it's very clear what he's
shitty fucking
still.
essays.
I don't agree with him, but he does it. Just write your ass a fucking essay, Colin Kaepernick.
Would it be like the kind of things that Carson Wentz wrote, like the
as bad as it is?
Right.
I don't care.
Let's go. What was the name of that website?
Sitting down for an anthem is like a thing that's so abstract. Everybody's going to take it a different way.
Okay.
And it's just like, oh God.
Well,
why is Colin Kaepernick teaching us this? It's let me tell you about my tattoos guy on one of the worst franchises in football. No, not him.
I agree with you in the sense that, that dude is kind of a douchebag to begin with, right?
Yeah.
So maybe if it weren't him, we would be a little bit more responsive. But
I'm not going to be responsive to anybody who that's their method of protest.
Okay.
I mean, we all have blogs, we all have social media, we all have so on and so forth. He's just doing the bare minimum. And then I read an article the other day. It was like the long history of not standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I was like, or for the national anthem. It's not even fucking original what he's doing. Plenty of athletes have done it before. It's just like, you're in the new millennium, dude.
Yeah, maybe this is all about nothing.
It's all about Colin Kaepernick. And he's like, whoa, I'm in the news still. I managed to get a little...
Yeah, all right.
There's a 19th hole for me.
We definitely have
my 15 minutes just got a little bit longer. So it's like, oh, good job, Colin Kaepernick.
We definitely have spent more time.
And then everything that he fucking does is like, it's going to be like another thing like Tebow.
Still spending
and the gay guy. It's going to be like, is it because of this? It's just like, fuck. Now the whole view of something that is not supposed to be abstract is abstract. It's a game. You're supposed to go out there and fucking play that shit, and he who gets more points is that it was like, well, if they would have started Kaepernick, but they weren't because they were punishing him for, and it's just like, get that shit the fuck out of here. That's not, I'm watching this for it to be a respite from that bullshit. Sorry.
I didn't know how you really felt.
So I went out for...
Okay.
We're moving on.
We went too far in that direction. So the answer is, I have fun at the Superdome. Boom. We're going to have fun at the Superdome.
I'm just going to... Hold on. I'm going to finish everything and just say, I totally agree with what Colin Kaepernick is saying, but he is the wrong guy doing it in the wrong fucking way. I'm just like, oh... Thanks for saying something that I've been reading about from journalists for fucking 10 years.
Okay. I think we got it.
And that has been on the news. And has been... Fucking everybody knows the story. What did he fucking add to it? What has Colin Kaepernick done to advance the story about African Americans being shot by police? Not a goddamn motherfucking thing. It's still the same story. Nothing has changed. Except Colin Kaepernick is there now. Oh, here I am. Fuck. Sorry.
Okay. All right, so we definitely went way too long with that.
Yeah.
And we got into
I'm totally
it's all right.
sympathetic to African Americans getting shot by police, and I argue about it on Facebook.
I know you do.
Quite often.
That's
so
fine.
It's not like I don't agree that
with
what he's saying. I'm just like,
to sum up,
fuck him.
You are specifically upset that particular person.
Yeah, like not everybody who feels those things and stands up for those things is a fucking great person. Or is doing it for the reasons simply based on those reasons.
We are none of us perfect anything. Yeah. But anyway, so
try and tell the media that everybody's got to be perfect.
Or everybody is all one thing.
Right. Everybody's all one thing.
Exactly. No one is all one thing.
Yeah.
But so just to sum up, the fan experience in the Superdome is not all one thing.
Aren't they coming here, the Niners? No, we're going there.
We're going there.
Oh, great. So Drew Brees and Colin Kaepernick are going to finish this on the fucking field.
Oh, I can't wait.
Maybe Blaine Gabbert or what's his name will get hurt. That would be great. That would be the best payoff for me, is if Gabbert gets hurt.
Okay.
And Kaepernick has to start.
Okay.
And those fans who burned his jersey and shit have to be like, do I want the team to win or do I hate this motherfucker? So please, at some point, I don't wish ill for the Gabberts,
right?
But let's let Gabbert suck, and people go like, "Bring Kaepernick on." That would be a payoff for me.
Okay,
I would forget everything I said.
All right,
if Kaepernick starts at any point this season, I'll be like, "Oh, this is good." All right,
and what I'll do is I'll just conclude this again by saying,
"Go ahead."
The Superdome is a mixed experience, just like life in America. With it's got its joys and its problems, and we're looking forward to going back. And that's my stepping out this week. And
okay,
I think that after Lance cools down from this fucking Kaepernick rant. We can get
I just completely contradicted myself at the end of it because I'm like, I'm okay with all that political bullshit if at the end it gets settled on the fucking field. Right. You're like, if it gets built, if it's part of the fucking narrative and the storyline and there's a payoff like wrestling, then I'm like, okay, cool. Otherwise, it's just some guy trying to do something to stay relevant.
It all gets incorporated eventually.
Yeah, because Drew Brees, the guy that said something against Kaepernick, and Kaepernick are going to settle it on the field. That's going to be, please let it happen, universe.
Okay, Lance, let's please go into your...
All right, so I did a couple things. One, I've been meaning to talk about this. I've been watching a YouTube channel by a dude named Cajun Nerd, and he takes old Thundercats cartoons.
Oh, my God.
And he puts Cajun voices on them, and then they go off and they do things that Cajuns would do. Like,
okay.
So there's a couple different episodes. One is the guy who wants to build a screened-in porch. Another one is they're fighting over a Magnolite pot. You know what one of those is?
No.
Apparently it's a big deal out there. I've been spending a lot of time, or more time than I ever thought I would,
in Cajun country.
West of the city.
Not in
down
Thundercat
Highway 90. Yeah, well, Jeremy Aber, my business partners from Hahnville and Homa. So
you've been
I go
going
out
down
there.
the bayou a lot.
Yeah. And I date a girl who lives in Raceland, and then my tattoo artist is in Homa.
Okay.
So, and then I've, met the girl I'm dating's friends, and Missy, we helped her out when she got flooded and stuff like that. So I've been as a result of Tinder, been spending time in the bayou. I
didn't know that Tinder was fire in the bayou.
Yeah. And they turned me on to this thing called Thunderminu, which is Thundercats dubbed over with French stuff. But that's not all they do. They also they take old infomercials with Billy Mays, who I think they call Billy Malone. and the other guy, the slap chop guy, who they call T Vince.
Okay.
And then the Phil Swift, who they call Phil Swifto, he makes himself with the Flex Seal. Like during the floods, he was like, "Hey, you can make yourself your own Cajun Navy using this Flex Seal. You can turn anything into a boat and stuff like that."
You can make yourself into your own Cajun Navy.
Yep, yep. So we're gonna put that in the show notes. I've been listening to that a lot, and also you kind of learn things. I've learned where Cowboys is, which is a big nightclub that all the Cajuns go party at off Highway 90. I've learned. And some of the things the girl I was dating would tell me about, and then I would hear it said on Tunda Minu, and I was like, damn, man, she wasn't fucking around. That is a real word that they use and stuff like that. Like nonk and flissons, which are goosebumps.
This shit.
And so on and so forth.
Tunda Minu.
Tunda Minu. We're going to put that in the show notes. My favorite episodes are episode 3, where they build a screened-in porch, and episode 6, where they listen to Acid Bath, which is another thing that I had never heard of.
It's a band.
It was a metal band from Homa.
Yes.
Back in the 90s, which I'm very excited about listening to. And they go to the camp, and they summon the devil, and then Tunda Minu have to fight him and such. I don't know who Rob Perillo is, but I'm assuming he's a weatherman from over there, because they're always bitching about him when it starts raining and stuff. Anyways, it's a crash course in sort of Cajun culture.
I'm looking at the YouTube.
The infomercials are all particularly hilarious.
Bobby.com TV Cajun Nerd Media on YouTube.
Yeah.
Is this what this is? Okay.
Yeah. And the Billy Mays ones are pretty funny. OxyContin Clean is the name of those.
This is T-Man Cajun He-Man.
T-Man is the new, that's the one that came out today where they did He-Man. They took him and they dubbed him over with Cajun accents.
Yeah.
Like
goodness.
His Skeletor is called Skeleton. and on the I don't know how many of Tim and them used to watch Thundercats, but Lino is like Lino with like NEA UX and shit like that. Yeah. Anyways, I've been watching lots of those. The infomercials are the funnier ones.
Yeah,
in my
Billy
opinion.
Mays OxyContin Clean.
OxyContin Clean.
Yeah. Dr. Butt's Ass Spray.
Right.
Mighty Putty. I don't know what
That's
Mighty
a funny
Putty
one.
is.
Nobody has to know. Nobody has to know you backed over that mailbox in your truck while you was drunk.
Okay.
Nobody has to know you knocked over Mama's flower pots when you was drunk.
Yeah, we're gonna link this in the show.
Yeah, you got your you
This
got your
is
mama, you got your papa, you got your paran. I'm learning all that shit.
Yeah. All right. That's
And
that's quite a find.
It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun.
Good deal.
You know.
So you've been watching a lot of that.
I've been watching a lot of that.
All right.
I watch it like sometimes 3-4 times.
Okay.
And I recommend it for Tim and him and such.
So what else? What else?
I'm getting to it, Jeff.
Okay.
You don't have to prompt me like that.
I'm
I know we
sorry.
wasted a lot of time.
I'm
with
trying to
Contact.
help.
Well, you weren't trying to help when you were talking about how bleak it was around the Superdome with airspace. You were taking your pretty little fucking time with that.
So I'll come out.
We also did
all come out in the
Seersucker
edit.
Wednesday, which is an event that the gallery has had.
All right,
for,
Seersucker Wednesday.
right. So you're not supposed to wear seersucker after Labor Day.
You're not?
And you're not.
Oh,
Roz
shit.
did it on her birthday, on her wedding day, because fuck it, it was her wedding day. And
I do it on New Year's.
I'm down with that. Okay, well, you're not supposed to do
I know.
that. But you know,
I do it anyway.
yeah, you're anti-establishment, so it is kind of a high society thing. But fuck it. So we on the Wednesday before that, because generally we're usually working on Labor Day, and it's usually Decadence too. We go, we dress up, and we meet at the gallery at noon. And then we just wander off into the French Quarter and we get on and drink. We used to go to Mr. B's, but last year they wouldn't let us in because Jeremy didn't have sleeves. And there was a rule there that you had to have sleeves.
You can all be gussied up in seersucker,
Right.
but sleeves.
No sleeves, no
Damn.
service. So I gave him my jacket last year and we were able to eat there. But this year we were like, fuck it. And then we went to Acme and that was awful. The funny thing about Rosalind
Rosalind
that
loves Acme, by the way.
she was all down with that. But then later on, like several hours later, we were like, let's go to Portugal. She's like, oh, I fucking hate that place. No way. It's fucking garbage. I'm like, Acme sucks.
This is all subjective. There are like restaurants you can name that are like, there's a New Orleans institution. You'll find like 50 people who love it, and you'll find as many people who hate it. And it'll just be the same. It doesn't matter. It's just.
Well, I think Acme is sucky in that the food sucks and the service sucks and their attitude sucks. Whereas Portugal, their attitude and the service sucks. But generally, that burger, they're not going to fuck that up, and it's pretty good.
Portugal is always too fucking crowded.
Yeah, there's that too. Well, so we went to Acme, and then we got on the streetcar, and we took it down uptown because we always ride the streetcar in the seersucker. And we went to Avenue Pub. We had a good time there.
That's when you ran into Amanda.
I ran into Amanda Soprano. She told me about the peanut face. God rest her soul, R.I.P. Or maybe not. I don't fucking know. I hope she never lived and rather have died. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I don't know what's worse.
And then we rode back. We went to Fahey's. Roz dropped out then. Jeremy dropped out at Avenue. And then we went to a place further down called 700. And they had some good food there, but they were playing like videos. And then we went home.
That's a pretty good gallery event. Like you get everybody to show up at the gallery, and then y'all go on off.
We take some pictures. They're online and stuff. And then we put our seersucker away for that year. And hopefully it's a good day drinking event now.
Yeah.
I mean, it is almost a Mardi Gras-like event.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far, but it is a big deal.
You have that feeling at the beginning of the day that like, hey, I'm going to day drink guiltless, which is kind of only time I do that is during Mardi Gras.
Gotcha.
So you want to do the recipe minute?
Yeah, why not? Go ahead.
I got this. So everyone's always looking for different ways to cook Blue Runner, and a lot of them have been done, but this is what I did recently. Okay. So what I do is I cook my rice, I heat up the beans, I put them in a bowl, and then...
Pretty standard so far.
Right. I just, in a saucepan, I take frozen spinach, cut up some onions, get a sausage. It could be Ricky Jackson's. It could be Savoie or whatever sausage.
Just your run-of-the-mill sausage.
So you make so you cut up some sausage, onions, spinach. Stir that up in a saucepan with some Tony's or whatever kind of spices you want.
Right.
And then dump that shit in there.
Okay.
And it just flavors the rice and the beans with whatever you've kind of sort of concentrated in that saucepan.
So
dump that in there, and that becomes your dish. It's just a way.
Make some rice, warm up some Blue Runners, and put some sausage in it.
No, sausage, onion, or whatever you want to cook. Yeah. The point is, you cook something in a pan.
Yeah.
And then that's where you add all your flavor or whatever you want it to taste like, because the beans and the rice are just going to soak up whatever you cook in the pan.
Okay.
They're just going to be like the mixer.
Yeah. Semi-homemade.
It's Sandra Lee style.
Right.
Kind of.
Sandra Dean.
You're upcycling what is that. Basically, Blue Runner, not super flavorful, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got some.
All right.
Lacks salt. That's the recipe minute. There you go. Did you know that iPhone 7 is not going to have headphone jacks?
I have known this for some time now. It's bullshit.
Total bullshit.
For a whole bunch of reasons, but it's because it has to do with DRM.
They pioneered that shit.
Yeah. There's this great article about why it's bullshit. I'll put it in the show notes. Today, Apple had their yearly thing where they get out.
Pull out their penis and say, look how big the penis is.
Right.
What y'all think?
And
still pretty big. It's bigger than Samsung's.
What's great about watching that happen on social media is instantly everyone who knows it's bullshit is like, oh, that's bullshit. Headphone jacks is a universal item. I mean, everything has a headphone jack. It talks to everything. What a great tool, right?
And Apple's like, just par for their course. Let's make something that only our users can use, that we control.
And people rightfully say that's bullshit. And so there's a day of people saying that's bullshit. And then what that story becomes is, oh, look at all these people who like to complain. Oh, they're complaining.
Really?
Yes. So like the end of the day, the story is, oh, people must really care about headphone jacks. And that's like the joke. So like
no, it's another way for them to fucking own us.
Right.
I'm already pissed off at how much control my phone has on me anyways. Right, that even today when I was hearing the story, I was like, phone should be free. Phone should be issued by the government and free. Phone is a fucking right. Because it's going to be, because you're not going to be able to do shit without it.
Well, hey, welcome on board. That is, everyone should have broadband access. Everyone should have internet access. This is a freedom of information
at the library.
Issue. This is a very important issue.
You should check out phones from the library.
There you go.
You're fucking right.
But that is way beyond the scope of what we're prepared to tackle tonight.
Yeah, you're right.
So, in fact, I think that might be everything that we have.
We could do, we don't have a jive wire. We just didn't get it together.
No, but we'll come up with a jive wire next week.
Thank you to Ira Ray for providing us this is the first time I've used the Ira Ray,
the commemorative Ira Ray soundboard brought to you by We Met in the Air,
right?
Which is Allie wanted it to be an acronym, but we haven't figured out how to make it.
Not memorial yet. Though she said memorial last week. Right. So Ira had died last week, and I had died. I'm like, fuck.
I'm so sorry that we're killing people on accident.
Memorial. Something happened to Ira. Thank you for sending it. That was above and beyond. We love you, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't think that we ever. That is something.
So this is the show. The show's coming along. We've got patrons. We've got hardcore fans.
Guests.
We've got guests. We've had several guests. If you would like to be a patron / sponsor / guest of the Hunker Downcast, you can get in touch with us at hunkerdowncast@gmail.com. Or more immediately and directly, you can probably get in touch with Lance at Varg Vargas on Twitter, or Allie at Allison_DeYoung, or even with me on @Skooks on Twitter. Those are probably the easiest ways to get in touch with us, although there are other ways. You guys can figure it out because y'all are some smart folks. We appreciate everybody listening. Do you have anything else to say for us this week?
Ideally, we would want 3 soundboards so that there's kind of custody battles happening with this soundboard.
Okay.
So ideally we need everyone needs their own soundboard.
3 more soundboards.
The Brainiac, Curmudgeon, and Goofball all need a soundboard. So we need about $300 more contributions from you people. Peoria, are you listening? Topeka, Boise, I know y'all are out there. Send in your money. Do it now. We need this. Hookers are suffering.
Yeah, and on top of that, thanks again, everybody, for listening and everything you do for us. And we'll see you guys next time.